Hypocrisy.
Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to Law-Splaining the Interwebs. I am your host, Nick Rekieta of Rekieta Law, small law firm in central Minnesota. What is going? What? My hair is like too tall or something. What's up, guys? How's it going? It's been a minute. It has been a minute since I have seen you, and I am happy to be here. I apologize. The past week has been very hectic, having things come up in the middle of nowhere and all that stuff. Yesterday, Thursday, I think it's still Friday, right? Thursday, we randomly, at the last minute, got the opportunity to go to another soccer game. And we only got to take 2 kids the first time. So we took 2 more kids to the soccer game yesterday. So that was cool. We saw Minnesota lose to Juarez, Mexico in the League's Cup qualifier. I don't know if that means they don't qualify, but I assume so. I assume so. No, it's Wednesday. Hans Maestro. It's Thursday to soon. Right? Is that what it is? Yeah. And then today, like this happened a day or 2 ago, like it's when it started, but my daughter says, "Hey, Dad, some of my friends are going to meet at the Mall of America. Can I go?" I was like, I don't know. Like, what's this? She's like, well, we all met at Bible camp or whatever. And so we all wanted to go and just hang out at the mall. I'm like, all right, like, I guess, yeah, sure, you can go. And she goes, oh, by the way, can you chaperone? Can you chaperone all these kids? I'm like, what about other parents? Are other parents going to be there? No. So Lady Raggets and I ended up bringing some kids to the Mall of America today to have, just kind of like a relaxing time. It was nice, but I just got home, in the past 20 minutes, pretty much. And so I apologize for things starting a little bit later than planned, but and for all the interruptions. I'm hoping that those slow down really soon. So with that said, we have Coding ATC says, clearly you found the same barber that a young Einstein used. I have not gotten my hair cut in a while, and it should show. That shows. Chris Book Hammer, member for 11 months, is finally a respectable member length. I mean, tell yourself what you need to. No, that is very respectable. Thank you. Gen X Medic says, I'm looking rough tonight. I have spent all day walking around the Mall of America. All of it. The whole day. I'm exhausted. And I, had to drive 2 hours to get there, drive 2 hours to get back. So I am a little rough. We're a little rough tonight, but some people like it rough, so that's good. The Space Choo Choo sent some jewels in an envelope. I don't even know what that means, but I like it. Thank you very much for that. And let's see, what else do we have? We do have, so the last show was a week ago. It's crazy. And so people were talking about their chats like not coming through. Well, I have 4 chats from the last show still that didn't show up when I was looking, but now they're there. I don't want to play them right now. We'll probably play them later in the stream because I don't know if the people who sent them are here. So my volume's low now. What a bunch of racism. I can turn it up a bit. Who knows? But yeah, so we'll probably play those later in the show. I don't like missing a chat that comes in, but I couldn't, they weren't there, but they did happen. But this one is from today. This is from Ryland Poole.
I think the missing super tips are delays in payment processing during peak use. Melton said mine went through even though you showed your tab on stream. I'm sending this at 10:20 p.m. Central Time. Nigga.
There we go. Perfect. Thank you. Tammy Fayette says, Nick, long time no see. Hiya. And I think perhaps more importantly, she also said, your hair is beautiful, Nick. Now, I've seen some people criticizing my hair, which is a reasonable thing to do, even though you're incorrect. So thank you. All right. So tonight, guys, we have Vincent McCafferty says, how's the wife? She's good. We got to spend the whole day together. That was actually one of the concerns about bringing the kids, like all these kids, is like, we're not going to be watching a bunch of young teenagers and then and let them run off. You can't do that. The Mall of America, if you're under 16, you have to be accompanied by an adult, and they are very strict on that. They will kick you out of that. So, super tips are loud and mic is low. Well, I have no idea. I don't know what's up with that. I think is there a volume adjustment on these stupid things? No, I don't want to do that. I think there is, but I don't know where it is. One day I need to sit down and like work on learning super tips a little bit better. All right, where were we? What are we doing today? Okay, so a bunch has happened since the last show. A whole bunch. The legal world, political world, the conspiracy world, the world of the dumb is also it's blowing up. There's all sorts of shit happening. Tonight, we have a really, really good news, important decision coming out of one of the district courts that has struck down portions of the National Firearms Act, which is pretty awesome. Like, that is a long time coming, and we need to talk about what it is. Now, the whole thing is not down, but a bunch of it is. A bunch of it is it's being dismantled. So we'll talk about that. That won't take too long. Okay. What's probably going to take the longest is the update on Scarlett. Now, I don't know how much people follow any particular thing or what they have the opportunity to see, etc. I did a short video. It wasn't short. It was an hour long. But I did a video on demand video just the other day. And it was about the arrest of Scarlett Hampton. She was arrested with allegedly 30 grams of the white stuff, 30 grams of, of positivity powder. And she is charged in Indiana for that crime, which is a really bad charge to have. It's the worst level felony you can get for possession of cocaine or other drugs. So it's, it's not a good thing. We didn't have too many details. All we had was a probable cause statement and just whatever chatter was out there online. And now Scarlett has returned to Twitter, and she is speaking out about her situation a little bit. I don't know too much, but she did a video. I've read a couple of quick summaries of it, but I haven't actually watched the video. I thought we'll probably watch that and talk about that in the context of her legal defense. To be very clear about things, I am not in any way involved with her legal defense. I'm not in touch with her legal team or anything like that. I don't know any specific details. This is all just kind of speculation based off of what information is available, speculation on the types of strategies that may be used. Now, I have disclaimed this so many times. All right. And so I'm done disclaiming this. I've said that, I'm not making any accusations or whatever, because I don't know, related to Ethan Ralph and the controversial last meetup that tumbled into this arrest. I don't actually know anything. But I'm not going to sit and disclaim it over and over. Also, because Ralph can't stop himself, I guess. And despite me saying many times that, like, hey, I'm not making any accusations. These are just kind of the logical defense questions that someone would ask. And it really depends on what facts are around. All right. Like, because we don't know. So it had some speculation and then some interesting legal avenues that could follow. If you didn't watch that Scarlett video, not Scarlett's video, if you watch one of those, you get divorced. But what what happened was me making a video about her situation. If you have not watched that video, I recommend that you do. I heard the guy who made it's good. And it's pretty thorough in talking about some of the legal avenues with the information that we had at the time. Now, even though I said over and over that these are just, thoughts and possibilities, Ralph messaged me something angry about, like, my video being good and how it was helping the defense or something. I don't know, because he also deleted it. He deleted the message that he sent. But, like, my notification, I wish I would have screenshotted the notification so I would see all of the stuff that he deleted. But I didn't think it was going to be gone. I thought it would just be sitting there. So I'm done disclaiming or whatever. Like, it doesn't matter how much you try and put pillows down. Ralph always lands hard and starts barking and howling and screaming at everybody in sight because he has no impulse control. But hey, that's fine. I don't care about, like, Ralph. Like, I don't want anything bad to happen to him or anything like that. I just don't give a shit. I'm done with it. But I'm also done apologizing and disclaiming everything because he just starts hollering anyway. Calm down. But so we're going to talk about this now. While I may not be making any accusations, what I've read about the video that Scarlett did does involve accusations about Ethan Ralph's activity. So we're going to take those as true for the purposes of argument and for angering someone, I guess. I don't know. We're going to take those as true because that's how we have a discussion about the possibilities. Are these things true? Because if she's claiming them publicly while under arrest, you can guess that her strategy in some way involves those public statements. And we can talk about that. But again, I don't have any inside info. I don't have any inside track on this, okay? This is all, it's all based off of what everybody else sees. And I want to make that very clear. Other than that, we have Destiny being wrong about pardons. I, years ago now, debated Destiny on the pardon power. I tried to educate him on how broad it is and why, and that it's intentional. And he's still retarded. He still does not know what the pardon power is about, why it's important to be the way it is. And so we'll take a brief look at that and make fun of him. Courtney Clenney has cucked the entire fucking internet. She's going to plead guilty. When is it? It's like I think it's in like 5 days. So we're not going to get our OnlyFans stabby chick trial. We're not going to get it. And I'm really pissed off about that because I was looking forward to the stabby OnlyFans girl. I don't know about you guys. I thought that that had some of the most comedy potential available, and we're not getting it. So I hate it. Thanks, Courtney, you bitch. Now I think you're guilty. Before I was on her side, but I'm not anymore. So, whoa, I didn't want to zoom. So we'll talk about that very briefly, but that's going to be super boring when it could have been funny. And I've been waiting for that trial. It was supposed to start this month, and then now it's obviously not going to happen. I don't know if we'll even get a guilty plea hearing on it, but yeah. Special Sauce says more than shabusiness. Yeah, it had the potential. At some of her pretrial stuff, Courtney was just acting like a menace, right? She was like making little flirty faces and waving at people and stuff like that. It's like, oh, this is gonna be a disaster. And so I was looking forward to that. But we're not gonna get that now. So thanks, you guys. And then I don't know, I don't think we're gonna get to much more than that tonight. We might. We'll see. But the other stuff is just Charlie Kirk stuff and the development of the Candace underbelly of the internet, which is and Baron Coleman, which is one of the most fucking vile things I can imagine. Baron Coleman and Candace Owens and Ian Carroll primarily, and this Lionel Media guy are flat out lying to people about, I guess, criminal procedure, about all sorts of stuff, about investigations, about everything. They're lying about all of it. And it's really frustrating to watch because people are like, well, what if? And it's like, what if something that didn't happen happened? Well, yeah, that would lead to a different conclusion, but it didn't happen. It's not a thing. Or what if the rule was different? Well, it isn't, though. It isn't different. And people don't seem to understand that. Or maybe I'm the retard, which is possible. Maybe I'm an idiot because I'm expecting people to be talking within the bounds of like what can be done or adequately discussed. For example, if we want to talk about exploding lapel microphones, first of all, nope. Second of all, if you want to talk about them, fine. Like you can speculate about it all you want, but those aren't coming into court. They're not. I don't know how to tell anybody this because people are convinced. They're like, no, there's evidence of this. What about these shattered pieces, etc.? Like that isn't coming into court. It's not. It won't. The defense has not challenged. At the preliminary hearing, the defense had the opportunity to challenge the cause of death. They didn't. They didn't challenge the cause of death. Now, they've challenged some facts, prove that Tyler Robinson's the one who shot Charlie Kirk. But they do not dispute that Charlie Kirk died by gunshot. And they really shouldn't. The medical examiner pulled bullet fragments out of his neck. And these people are like, well, what if the security guys who didn't let the medics in, what if they shoved bullet fragments into Charlie Kirk? It's like, well, what if they didn't do that? That's not a thing that happened. So I don't know why we're what ifing that. Because what if it didn't happen? Oh yeah, it didn't. It's not a real thing. The exploding microphone, not a real thing. Egyptian jets following Charlie Kirk around, not a real thing. These aren't real. They didn't happen. Now, well, what about this? Well, what if they planted the gun? They didn't. They didn't do that. What if it's another shooter, but also didn't shoot because of microphone? Nope. Right now, the evidence that will come into court is so overwhelmingly against Tyler Robinson and no one else. Well, what about Lance Twiggs? Lance has immunity. So it's not going to be that one. That's not going to happen. Even if Lance did it, aside from Lance saying, I did it, they can't use any of his statements to charge him with murder outside of a direct confession, which I don't think he's going to do. There's no evidence that Lance Twiggs was around the campus that day. There's a bunch that Tyler Robinson was there. None about Lance. And they're like, well, what about these gloves in the SUV? Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter at all. Those gloves didn't kill Charlie Kirk. Or what about paving over where he was shot? What evidence do you think they missed? What did you... And people just don't see it. Someone was arguing with me about the FBI finding the rifle, saying that his body-worn camera should pick up whether or not the screwdriver was there. It wasn't there. The screwdriver wasn't there. I got to tell you this. The screwdriver was up on the roof. We know that because that's what the prosecution has argued specifically, because that's the testimony of the person who found the screwdriver. There's nothing else that says the screwdriver was down by the rifle except for one interview that was given to an anonymous person with knowledge of the case, whatever that means, who said the screwdriver was found near the rifle. Now, the likely story is that the screwdriver was found near the firing spot, and they misunderstood that because that's where it was found. That's the actual thing. But one anonymous person said one wrong thing, literally like the same day or the next day, early AM. I think it was the same day. They said this one wrong thing, and people are like, well, why'd they change their story? It's like, it wasn't their story. That was an anonymous person with knowledge of the case. Wasn't an official spokesperson, and they didn't seem to have all of their facts right. That's normal. That's normal in the early hours of a murder, especially a murder that involves, some other factors like an assassination for politics. But like, I'm done entertaining bullshit because none of this stuff is coming in to the case. Now they're challenging the DNA on the screwdriver. They're not challenging where the screwdriver was found. Challenging the DNA on the gun. They're not challenging. Defense is not going to say the gun was planted. The defense is going to say, how do you know that that's the gun? And how do you know that Tyler Robinson fired that gun? And they're going to say, well, we have this bullet. It's the only .30 caliber gun around. And we see it in the video, like we see him take it down and stash it. So that's one way. And the other thing is we've got his DNA everywhere, and we watched him walk up there. And like, all of this evidence works together. And it is not at present a close case. At present, it is not a close case, but people are hooked on it. They think it is. They're like, aha, he's going to be exonerated. He won't. He's cooked, man. He's going to go to, right now, the defense is just trying to keep him from having the death penalty. That is the only thing that the defense is trying to do right now. Keep Tyler Robinson off of death row. And people think that there's like some giant conspiracy brewing and blah, blah, blah. Jews worked with Egyptians and TPUSA to kill him. Okay, you can speculate on that all day, but it's useless. And I'm like, oh yeah. The thing that I was getting to, the thing that triggered me and pissed me off and started this rant. Person's arguing me, they're like, it should be on the body-worn camera from the FBI agent who found the gun. And when you say, actually, when processing a crime scene, the FBI is required to turn off their body cams. And you can find the actual part of the manual that says it specifically, that once the scene is secure, body cameras are off. They're off. And there's a lot of good reasons for that. You don't actually want the defense to see the search if you're the government, or the processing of the scene. You don't want them to see something that they could interpret as a mistake, that they could misinterpret, that they could misrepresent. You don't want any of that. You just want the results written up on nice reports with nice photographs or nice video, etc. And all that's done. There's no body-worn camera. But people will argue with you, no, that's a breach of protocol. It isn't. It's actually a breach of protocol to have your camera on while doing this. And it drives me fucking crazy. Drives me crazy because you try and talk in good faith. You try and present evidence. You try and give people facts that they can grab onto, and they just don't. They're just like, nope. Speaking of things to grab onto, what's up to Good Logic and his wonderful, wonderful chat who's joined us. He rated our stream a little bit ago, and I wanted to make sure and say thank you to my man Joe, and welcome to all of you people whom I love very much. All right, we've got what do we have here?
Let's be honest here, Nick. She was busted for old school Ozempic, 80s most effective diet plan, musical creativity enhancement powder.
Sugary confidence, man. Oh boy. Actually, so Scarlett's case is really interesting. And that's why I want to talk about it. Normally, when you have a drug bust, you have pretty straightforward set of facts. This one, though, has some interesting facts. Will they win her case? I don't know that she's going to take it to trial. I don't know if she's got a plea deal. I know that the set of facts that she has helps her tremendously in a plea negotiation. That's real. And we'll talk about those things. But first, we've got a couple super chats to go through, and then we're gonna start with the National Firearms Act, and then we'll jump into Scarlett. You know what I mean? Not like that. Like that. Fletcher Boy says, I'm late and gay. I'm not wearing pants and I'm drinking. Heaven, you're in heaven. Enjoy it, brother. Nathan Danner says, it's my birthday, 53 years old. 2 more years and I can get the senior discount. You know what? I have a quick story. So my son, who just graduated high school, he and his friends went to a movie or a restaurant or something on one, I think their last day of school. It was a restaurant. They went into the restaurant and they asked if they could have the senior discount. And the person gave it to them because they were seniors in high school. And they were just tickled pink by that. Not Hassan Piker pink, not communist. They were just, they thought it was like the greatest thing ever. I was like, you guys are nerds. Just kidding. Just kidding. Happy birthday, Nathan Danner. 53 years. Hold on. Let me get you a proper degenerate toast with some Monster Energy drink. Cheers to you, Nathan. Happy 53 orbits around the sun to 53 more and then another one. But no more after that. That's when you gotta go. Looking forward to that senior discount, man. Have a happy birthday. All right. Treasure Island says it's entirely possible I've fallen asleep with you more than any other man. Look, it happens. It's not weird if you don't think about it. Member for 15 months. That's a good member right there. Aunt Clara, 9/11, sent some 67 joules, 6-7. Thank you, 6-7. I've never heard 6-7. I don't know what that means. Chris Clement says, stay hydrated, 550 joules. Thank you. Destiny X Rose, member for 5 months, almost. You're right in the average. Says your words help me stay sober 8 months now. Oh, congrats. Keep going, stay strong, and just push through the tough times. You got it. You've demonstrated that you can do it. So just keep it up. I'm glad to hear that. And then Kate of the Swiss says, why does everyone ignore or forget Tyler and his grandpa's rifle were 200 miles away from his home and effectively inches away from Charlie Kirk? Look, you have to ignore everything. I was going to do a segment, and I don't know if I'm going to do a segment here. Like I don't know if I'll do it on a live show or just do a one-off video about why conspiracy is effective and how it works. But the trick to conspiracy is you have to analyze everything in isolation, hyper isolation. Have to pretend that no other facts exist or are relevant. And then the other thing you have to do is you have to work backwards. You have to start with a conclusion and say, okay, what evidence gets me here? because if you start without a presupposition of what happened, you come very quickly to the conclusion that it kind of looks like Tyler did it. But if you start with the proposition that Jews did it and you look for evidence of it, well, then you'll discount a lot of evidence that doesn't point to Jews, and you'll highlight evidence that does point to Jews, which really, the Star of David shaped entrance wound on his neck is a dead giveaway that was a shaped Jew charge. Cookie, you want to get banned? Oh, speaking of, hey, what's up, Scarlett? Scarlett's in the chat. Conspiracies deserve analyzing. And says, what do you think of the 7641 involving Ethan Ralph? I don't know much about it. I believe 764 is the group that swatted me a couple times, or the guy who's in jail for swatting Marjorie Taylor Greene. I believe they had linked me and some other people were involved that they were swatting and causing trouble with. So I was glad to see them go to jail. That was funny. But other than that, I don't know too much about it. I saw some stuff about Ralph's involvement and Alyssa's involvement. Doesn't surprise me at all that Alyssa would be involved. She's a total scumbag. Actual awful person right there. But that's a whole separate story. But if they're involved with him, it doesn't really surprise me, but I don't know too much about it. I try and not pay attention to people like that too much. All they do is cause misery, and they're worthless. So, wait, is there someone in the chat named Tuned Out? Or are you saying that to me? That was my EverQuest character name forever ago. Look up a Vera Zoo. Wait, look up. Wait, okay, wait, you're talking to me. Who were you in Rest in Peace? I remember Rest in Peace very well. Who is your main? You're welcome, Scarlett. Hang in there. Be well. Stay healthy. Hello. Oh my God. Yeah, you're one of my favorite people. How you doing, man? Guys, Hal Below was a wizard. What? That was a long time ago, brother. That was what? It was 99, 2000, something like that. Into 2001, maybe 2002. It's 25 years ago. Holy shit. Good to see you, man. Hey, email me or something. Are you playing EverQuest Legends? Email me. Let me just, sorry guys, this is very important. Hey, my email address is ricadalaw@ricada.org. There you go. There you go. Oh my gosh. When you run into someone from your past, it's like just joy. Just joy. It was such a different time. It was cool. And I'm glad to see you, man. I'm glad to see you. Please email me. I would really, really love to reconnect and talk to you and stuff. Here we go. One last Let's see. One last important message from Scarlett. This is good. And to Josh Moon Fags, I didn't XXX with the Ricadas. That is true. That is true. We did not. I like saw Scarlett across the room at the bar at one point, or it was out just outside of the Hackamania venue. And like, I saw her out there and I saw Ralph, but we didn't have any interaction of any kind. We didn't like talk. Nobody talked to anybody. I'm on probation. There are some things that like, I don't know if they were going on, but there was enough rumor and allegation around some things that might've been present there that I kind of just, I had to stay away from that situation because people would have immediately accused me of being on all sorts of drugs and liquor and stuff like that. So I, unfortunately that's just how it goes sometimes, but no, I didn't, we've never actually interacted in person at all. So, okay. What do we got here? Driveway discussions. Member for 6 months says, am I big enough yet? You're getting there, but if you have to ask, work on that insecurity, work on it. Come back next month and tell me. Scott E2, member for 8 months, is just curious. Any chance to chat with Carl Jobst? I have not talked to Carl in years. I don't know how he's doing. I know that he's not doing well. I know that he's not doing well with the Billy, what's his name? Billy, the King of Kong. Why can't I think of his fucking name? Billy Mitchell. I should know that. I should remember Billy Mitchell. I went to college at William Mitchell for law school, which is Billy Mitchell. Billy Mitchell. Went after Carl in Australia. Now I want to say something. I do want to say something. Because I got some shit back when this happened. There was one lawyer, I remember. There was one lawyer who was making videos saying, hey, Billy's strategy here is actually kind of smart. Especially once he got Guinness to reinstate his world record. He got Guinness to reinstate his world record, which is a great legal move because it put pressure on whatever the video game Hall of Fame people, Galaxy, whatever. It put pressure on them to reinstate it. Now, I know they created their own category for Billy to win so that, he would basically hold the record there forever, but it wouldn't be recognized against other attempts. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Billy Mitchell leveraged all those things, has kind of restored his reputation, went after Carl Jobst and devastated him in Australia. And I don't say that like as good or bad. Like I'm neutral on the issue. I don't really care. Holy shit. What he did, Billy Mitchell actually successfully navigated using litigation to start to restore his reputation. That's hard to do. I think his lawyers need some credit because they really did some wonders there. I'm just still tickled that Halbalow's here. As a wizard, he remembered. Of course I do. Of course. Like I said, you're one of my favorite people in that game. So thanks for being here, man. Uzelian says, watched a great video on the Silencer Shop Foundation versus ATF earlier done by Washington State Gun Law. I can't wait to hear your take. His take is going to be more thorough than mine. we're going to do kind of like a cursory look at it and just talk about it from a high level. We're not going to do a super deep dive on this one. I may do an individual video on it, but I saw the news while I was at the mall. Like, I haven't had a ton of time to prep it. So I don't want to set expectations too high, baby girl. And says, I tuned in late expecting to see our law poop, that too. Instead, I get Zoot from the Muppet. I'm not a Muppet. And then just Chase NK sent some jewels. Press F. Yeah, you should show respect. About time. About time. Okay, let's talk NFA stuff real quick. I think did I send this to me? Okay, I didn't send this to me. So give me 1 second. I just got to find it real quick. Long story short, a court has found part of the National Firearms Act to be unconstitutional, specifically around short-barreled rifles, suppressors, and other items. The way that this mechanism worked is, I was looking for the link. The way that this mechanism worked was these were regulated via a tax stamp. That tax stamp, basically allowed the government to create this separate class of items and then tax them. And the tax was proportionally pretty expensive to the item itself and made it prohibitive for some people to own some of these items. Well, the big, beautiful bill, the wonderful bill, really good. It's pretty good. I think so. Some people have told me it's a very, very big bill, very beautiful. But the big, beautiful bill included some rollbacks of those taxes on the National Firearms Act, effectively setting the tax rates on these things to zero. Suppressors, short-barreled rifles, and short-barreled shotguns. Short-barreled rifles and shotguns have been unlawful since like 1929 or something. It's been a long time coming. And so suppressors, short-barrel rifles, short-barreled shotguns, the tax on them got rolled back to zero. Well, the problem with that from the government perspective is that their ability to regulate those items was solely restricted to the constitutional power that Congress utilized to pass the law. In this case, the tax and spend clause. Tax and spend clause allows Congress to levy taxes and spend the dues of the spend what is due to the United States for basically whatever is necessary and proper for the faithful execution of the constitutional duties, blah, 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 blah. Once that tax is zero, it is now dead. It's gone. Because if you're not taxing, then you can't claim to regulate as a tax. It's over. So it fucking just killed it. Like this is amazing. You can imagine that this is done intentionally with the hope that this would work out. Now, this is great news. Suppressors should not be unlawful. Short-barreled rifles, short-barreled shotguns, they shouldn't be unlawful either. Those are made unlawful during the time of mob killings way back when, because they were easy to conceal a short-barreled rifle in like a thicker coat. You didn't have to Tyler Robinson it, right? Like disassemble your gun, shove it down your pants next to your other gun and limp around campus all day. You didn't have to do that. You could just kind of tuck it into your coat or whatever. A sawed-off shotgun, do at your own risk, but you could like shove that down your pants, have a good time. It made it so that people were able to transport these weapons, which were maybe a little bit more effective at killing than a handgun would be, for example, but with not much more space. The design of rifles makes you use two hands. They're a little more stable. They have more mass, which means they absorb recoil better. They're just a little bit more effective in that way. Sawed-off shotgun, the shorter barrel of the shotgun, I believe the greater the spread of the bullets, or of the shrapnel, flak, whatever it's called, flechettes. Anyway, the shot, shorter barrel, greater the spread of the shot, and but the main thing was you could get very close to someone without them knowing you had a shotgun on you, pull it out, and blam, and very effective at close range. You don't have to worry about hitting something. You're going to hit something nice and sensitive. So all of this, though, was around, bootlegging, the rise of organized crime in America, thanks to the government creating it through the banning of alcohol. And it's been around forever. But realistically, from there's no logical reason that those should remain, that they should remain regulated. There's all sorts of stuff that kind of compensates for this problem anyway. Different designs of guns, modifications that can be made to handguns to do all sorts of stuff. They really didn't need to maintain this prohibition. It doesn't make any sense anymore. Yes, Silicon Player. I'll get to that in a second. But it wasn't really necessary. But the government doesn't like to deregulate. It does not like to unmanage itself. It likes to keep hold of whatever power it has. Governments do this. Now, this decision strikes that down. But here's where I have to be the most annoying person in the room. I have to caution things or people on this stuff, because it's really easy to be happy this happened and that it is good. It is ultimately really good. But part of it is the notion from the court that says that Congress does not have the ability to change the power that it used to pass the law. I have to say, that's how it should be, but that might be bullshit. That might be bullshit for one very specific reason. Do you guys remember a little thing called Obamacare? You guys remember a little thing called Obamacare? I think it was like NFIB versus Sibelius. Or no, it was what was it? It was the Patient Protection and Affordable Care Act. Anyway, shorthanded Obamacare. If you remember its tangled journey at the outset through the Supreme Court, you know that saying that they can't change the power under which a law was passed is not true, because Chief Justice John Roberts actually did that. Chief Justice John Roberts took Congress, who passed Obamacare under the Commerce Clause, and decided, even though no one was arguing for this, except for the attorney that the Supreme Court appointed to make this argument, no one was arguing for this other than them. They decided that it was under the tax and spend power because of the fine that would be imposed if you did not acquire health insurance. So for John Roberts to weasel his way out of finding Obamacare to be unconstitutional, as it later would be stripped and stripped and stripped down, right? Like a single mother on Tuesday in the red light district, whatever. It would be stripped down over multiple cases. But the initial question of, is it constitutional to require everybody to buy health insurance? John Roberts says under the Commerce Clause, no, which was a nice win. But then he said, but this is under the Tax and Spend Clause, which it wasn't. He just lied. Like, he created a thing that didn't exist. And so that is always a possibility here. This is at the, if I'm not mistaken, the federal court is a federal district court. So this can be appealed, of course. At the appeals level, it should be upheld. But once we get to the Supreme Court level, that's where we're going to have some questions. And there's going to be a question of whether or not Congress or the courts can interpret the law under a different Article 1, Section 8 power. Again, for example, changing tax and spend to commerce. And the court has changed commerce to tax and spend. So it seems only correct that it would go back. I hope it doesn't. I hope Roberts recognized his mistake. But I want to caution people on celebrating too quickly on firearms being all good. But this changes a whole bunch of stuff. The registration and the waiting period and all that stuff for all of these items. Again, suppressors, short barrel rifles, and short barreled shotguns will be removed. I mean, they should go into category. Well, the rifles and shotguns will go into categories with the rest of the rifles and shotguns. Suppressors, I don't understand how suppressors are regulated at all. Suppressors are not firearms. They cannot function without a firearm that they're attached to. They don't shoot bullets. They don't slingshot stuff. They don't use racial slurs. They just suppress, by lowering the muzzle velocity, they suppress some of the noise from a gun, from a gunshot. But they don't do any of the things that guns do. They do something completely different and require a gun to do it. But it's been regulated as an arm for a very long time, and it should not be. But those will presumably be able to be just purchased flat out. They're not firearms in any sense, and I think they were under the dangerous items portion of the NFA. So this is big news. Again, I'm not going to get super deep into it. I may, not tonight, but may do a standalone video or another live stream where we dig into the opinion itself. I haven't had time to read it. So, but I wanted to talk about it briefly as we got going today. So that's that. If you have anything you really want to say about it, I mean, go ahead. But I don't have too much to talk about at this point for it until I get a chance to read the opinion. Uzelian says, well, that's true. There is a difference. And that goes back to this already having gone to the Supreme Court, Jensen versus ATF. And that's where they argued it under tax and spend. Correct. But remember, Obamacare was argued under commerce and tax and spend, and the Supreme Court just chose tax and spend. Now, they may say that once it's said, it can't be changed, but I don't know. It seems I'm worried about it because John Roberts is a giant loser. And I hate him. I hate him because he's such a fucking weasel. Uzelian says, sorry, wrong case. I think it was actually US v. Miller. US v. Miller is that is, yes. US v. Miller is one of these cases that was just all around a mistake. How it happened is injustice. Miller, I guess, died in the middle of the case. His attorney bailed and didn't do it. And the Supreme Court just went on anyway. Without having representation for it, and upheld the National Firearms Act, even though there wasn't an argument presented for the case. So that was cool. That was nice of them to do that. We've been fucked by U.S. v. Miller since 1937 or 39, something like that. I can't remember. But yeah, thank you for mentioning that. We have some chats here that I'm going to go through real quick. Nick Naylor, member for 23 months, says, "You look like Coke. Don't be doing Coke." I am not. I am not. I have not seen Coke in a very long time. I don't remember when it was before my probation started, but since my probation started, I have definitely, like, I haven't seen it, haven't been around it. And that's just fine for me. Changed a lot of habits and activities that I was up to, that used to put me in proximity to it. I can't do it, so I don't want to be around it. You know, like that's, and that's okay. But looking like Coke is part of the, that's part of the fun, because everybody's like, "You're on Coke." So I was like, okay, fine. Like, I'll just dress like it. Chris Clemens, happy poop. He says, high five. He sent a bunch of these things in. Laughing disco. These are all emojis. Marshmallow high. Hiding. Why are you hiding? Hiding again? Hiding again? And he says, there, got rid of those pesky gems. Oh, so you had, like, you have gems? And then you used them? Well, thanks. Dragonfly sent a goat trophy. Thank you. The Big Sky says, Grays in the chat with letters, numbers are bots. Very possible. Flightless 7, member for 12 months, starting classes to become a paralegal in 2 weeks. Good luck with that. I hope you find fulfillment with that, and some good challenges, and some expansion of your own mind, learning, and all that shit.
Hey, Nick, it's Uncle Rico. Look, it's not that my songs are anti-Semitic. It's just that everything rhymes with Jew.
Everything does. Everything does. Oh, they gave everyone 1,000 gems when it started? Well, that was nice. That was good. Okay. Let's, well, I have to be very careful how I pull this up. I should maybe even pull it up from a third party. Let's see. Okay. All right. So, yes, Scarlett has posted a 18-minute video. And that is what we are going to see. How do I? You have to be careful pulling up a Scarlett video on YouTube. In general, I mean, you know, do whatever you want. But all right, let's do a quick primer on this. If you don't know, Scarlett Hampton is a former adult film actress. She was involved with Ethan Ralph. They have had a roller coaster relationship, high drama, high entertainment value for some. There's been a lot that has gone on between them, lots of allegations. I'm not going to get into any of that. None of that is. A little bit of it is relevant, and we'll address it as it goes. But I don't want to go through the history of Scarlett and Ethan Ralph. There's plenty of sources on that. You can just go to their Twitter timelines and see something about it if you want. But we're not gonna go through that. What you guys need to know is that Scarlett is a former adult film actress. She got involved romantically, I guess, with Ethan Ralph. And it was a tumultuous back and forth relationship. On July 28th, there was a quote unquote domestic incident in Indiana. That domestic incident involved Scarlett and Ethan in some way. I don't know the details of how it started or what it entailed, other than little bits that I've read. And that's going to be revealed in the video, which is mostly just audio. That's going to be revealed there. So I'll let the video speak for itself, and we'll use that to comment on it. Again, I've done an hour-long video on what followed the incident, which was an arrest of Scarlett. She was temporarily placed in the psych ward in Indiana at a hospital there. And as she was placed in the psych ward, they searched her bag, they searched, let me say this precisely. They searched the bag that came in with Scarlett. Inside it was approximately 30 grams of cocaine, allegedly, according to the police report, or the probable cause statement. All right. So they found approximately 30 grams of cocaine in Indiana. That puts it in the highest level felony. 28 grams or more makes it the highest level felony for drugs that you can get. And the prison consequences are very severe if they're imposed. Now, Scarlett, I believe, doesn't have a significant criminal record, if any. I don't know if she has traffic tickets or whatever, but I believe that might be all of it. I don't believe she has a felony conviction or anything like that. So she would be likely considered a first-time offender, and there's a lot of leverage that would normally be present. But you are talking about a very real risk of some jail time. It could be prison time. I was a first-time offender when I was arrested, and my presumptive sentence would have been 21 months in state prison. So almost 2 years in state prison for what I had. And I was not the top level felony in Minnesota. So different state, different rules, but she would normally have some negotiation power as a first-time offender and some other stuff. But the facts of her case, as I discussed in my longer video, and we'll discuss after we hear what she has to say, the facts of her case give her some unique opportunities to negotiate and even fight these charges. I'm not Scarlett's lawyer. I hope that Scarlett's lawyer has, informed her to probably not talk very specifically about much things, or if she is talking about things, making sure that she's doing so in a very intentional manner. All right. But that's not my responsibility. That's up to them. So with that, Scarlett has posted this 18-minute video. She, when she got arrested, she disappeared for a couple days. I think she's going to explain something about a phone being stolen or broken or something like that. And so that's, she is now back. As you can see, she's in the chat tonight. She has been saying a couple things in chat there. And, we can now analyze her claims based on, what she says. We can start to look at the legal situation a little bit different light with some more information. Speaking of more information, that Star Wars girl has raided the stream. What's up, Anna? How you doing? Welcome to Anna and her chat. Very happy to have you guys. Very happy to have you guys. Thank you for being here. We're just about to jump into this segment. We the Rabble says, hey, can you give me a quick recap on your attorney status and plans for the future? Yes. Real quickly, I am not presently licensed. Notice the middle subtitle under Ricada Law says suspended. I am currently suspended because I did not do my continuing education in the wake of my arrest. I'm going to start that imminently. Like maybe I wanted to start it earlier this week, but I've been busy. But I'm going to burn through I have 45 hours to do before I can reinstate my license. At present, at present, I have no other disciplinary concerns or actions against me. So I am not like, I'm not suspended for cause. It's literally for lack of, lack of effort. I think I also owe them a fee, like my lawyer's registration fee for the year. I think I have to pay that too. But once I get my hours done, all I have to do is write a letter to the Minnesota Supreme Court asking for reinstatement, explaining that I completed the, completed the CLEs. I don't know if I have to give them a reason, but I would. I just tell them I got arrested and my life kind of crumbled really fast. And I was focused on other things like recovery, making sure my family was secure, all of that stuff. Those just took priority. And I don't need my license to do what I do. I want to get it back because I worked hard for it, but I don't need it to do this. So it's been on the back burner. But as far as plans, yeah, I plan to have that worked out very, very soon. And I might have some funny things to do with it. We'll see. There's some asses that need kicking. I like this guy. He says, no way, this guy sober. I don't know if you forgot the is. Like, no way, is this guy sober? Or if you forgot a comma, there's no way, comma, this guy sober. I like that one better. No, I'm very sober. I've been for, April 15th of last year was my last substance, which was alcohol. So other than that, there we go. Recovery, you're wearing sunglasses inside. We know you're still snorting, Nikki. If I was doing that, I will go to prison for 2 years. Easiest decision to not do drugs ever. We the Rabble says, at least you're not a banger. That's true. It's true. Okay. I like this one. Why would you care about that? You're an addict. Wait, why would I care about what? Going to prison? Are you serious? Why would someone care about prison? Okay, sure. That's one of the dumbest comments I've seen lately. So that's cool. But yeah. It's this is someone who doesn't understand addiction. That's what it is. Why would they care about prison? Too busy getting high. That's not how that works, brother. This is one thing I've learned through my journey through the drug culture and legal system is that I don't know if it's Americans or people in general have no fucking idea how addiction works. They have no idea. They don't understand what addiction is. They go, oh, well, someone looked at drugs. Now they're addicted to them. That's not how it works in any way. Like, that's not what addiction looks like. That's not, and that's not how people are able to overcome or not overcome addiction. It is not that. And if you think that, if you assume that someone who did drugs is automatically a drug addict and that they're, not in control of themselves, that does happen. Sure, that does happen. But I would wager you don't realize how many people you know that do drugs on a regular basis. And it would probably surprise you who they are. Doctors, lawyers, journalists, stockbrokers, anybody who's in a high intensity field is ripe for drug use and abuse. It's just, I'm not saying that's a good thing or whatever. It's just, I bet you have no idea how many drugs are being used all around you all the time. And those people aren't addicts. Some of them are, some of them aren't. I shouldn't say they aren't. I'm saying not all those people are addicts. A lot of people use and abuse drugs without addiction. And a lot of people are addicted and don't use or abuse drugs because they've you know, they go through treatment or they've made steps to become sober, but the, you know, the addiction is still there. You don't get to just label people in one thing and assume that that's, you know, how they behave. You have no fucking idea how people behave. Trust me. But that's okay. Most people don't need to think about it, right? Like when you get into that drug culture and people find out that you're like, oh, you're cool with doing drugs or whatever, you start finding out really quickly who else is cool with doing drugs. Once that dam is broken, like people will talk to you about it all the time. Cause it's like a relief, I guess, to talk to people about this thing that you can't really talk about. And if they find out you're cool or whatever, then, you know, like they open up. But most people, you know, you don't need to worry about it because most of the time it doesn't affect you. That's the amazing thing. And if you think that it will always affect you and always be whatever, then you've been propagandized, and that's cool. Look up Verzu says, remember Vanny? Yeah, the Ixar monk. His P-Mill was his wood elf warrior. What a bitch. Yeah, I remember him. Or wait, no, that wasn't Vanny. That was Sanchek. Vanny was also an Ixar monk. I do remember Vanny. Now I made fun of him for being Sanchek, and he's not. Yeah, I remember him. Chiseng says, stay hydrated. Jim tells you, says, hello, my friend Ricky Raccoonets, member for 45 months. Oh my God. Holy shit. If you could please get to the point and let me know what is going on with the Sector Queen, that would be great. Sorry. So I got distracted. We the Rabble says, Nick, abstinence is a good idea for you. I think that you've shown that you spiral. That's a long discussion. It's a long discussion. Definitely Ken, definitely did. Keep your nose and liver clean. Love you, man. They are clean, very clean. My liver is wonderfully healthy. I'm always shocked whenever they look up my liver. Like I had an MRI on my abdomen, mainly looking at my pancreas, but also they scoped out my liver and my kidneys. And they're like, your liver and kidneys are healthy. And I was like, you're a liar. There's no way that's true. I put those motherfuckers through the ringer. They should at least be tired. But no, they're in good shape. I don't know how. They shouldn't be, but they are. All right. That said, let's move on to this Scarlett video, because I rambled on about other stuff for too long. Here we go. So here, like I said, this is pretty much, I don't think there's any video. It's just this picture of Scarlett and some audio. It's 18 minutes. Setting the stage again really quickly. Scarlett got arrested with 30 grams of white powdery substance that tested positive for cocaine. It came in a bag with her when she was admitted into a hospital and into the psychiatric care unit of the hospital. She was sedated. She gave no statements about this bag or the contents thereof. And this is a really important thing for her case. Because remember what I said, most drug possession cases are pretty straightforward. Sometimes they have interesting facts. This case has a potential to have really interesting facts. The fact that following a domestic incident, she is brought in to the psychiatric care unit, doesn't make statements, or even if she did make statements, they're pretty unreliable because she was in a mental state where she needed to be sedated, according to the probable cause statement, and that the bag that came with her, this Nike bag that came with her, was searched. Now, that means that while she is allegedly in possession of this bag, which contains cocaine, she is not in a proper mental state, right? Like she needed to be sedated. She's in a psychiatric care unit. That gives her immediately some defense to what's going on. Now, one of the questions is Whose bag is it? Is it her bag? Is it Ralph's bag? Is it someone else's bag? Is it the nurse's bag? We don't know. We don't know. I think she may make a statement or two about that in this video or in this audio clip. And those types of facts. Whose cocaine is it? Makes this case really interesting really quickly. All right, so here we go. Here we go. We're going to listen in. Oh, this is lovely. Can I not fast forward this? That's obnoxious.
Be here.
Okay, there she is. Feathered Axe Handle says, weird that you're not alleging the cops planted it. Why is that weird? I don't have any evidence that the cops planted it. If you're talking about my case, here's the fun thing. I never actually accused the cops of planting anything. I didn't do that. People misunderstood because I think I was on Chrissy Mayer's show, and I said, they have to prove how the drugs got into my house, which is true. That was. And I said, there were other people there. There were cops there. You know, like they have to make the proof. I did not actually accuse anybody of planting anything. In fact, again, once it came down to it, and we couldn't challenge the warrant any further, you know, I just pled guilty. But I didn't accuse anybody of planting anything. That's one of those retarded things from Kiwi Farms where they heard something wrong and then decided that I said something that I didn't say. We the Rabble says they planted handcuffs on your wrists. Not till I was getting in the car. And this is true. Alfarius and Omegon says the cops didn't plant it. I did after touching Nick's wiener. That's true. All right, here we go.
I like this.
Get on with it, Scar. Come on. Talk.
This testing.
We're waiting for, I can't fast forward this. Like when I tried to click on a different spot on the timeline, it just started it over back at 0. So I'm just letting it play here. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Oh, I think I smell a rat.
Have you prepped your kids on Mommy Scarlett moving inside? No, that'll be a big surprise to them.
Have had a week. Oh, goodness. Let's see here. I'm just testing to see if I combated this two-factor authentication lockout problem using one device.
Parasimian, this is true.
I got one device, so. Well, I actually have more than one device, so. It's not actually a pain in the ass, so. It might be for Piggy, but not me.
Piggy is importantly how Scarlett refers to Ethan.
Actually.
Dex Deadly says, Scar, is she from Lion King? Yes, this is actually Scar from Lion King.
I guess I'm a felon now.
You're not a felon yet. Don't say stuff like that. God damn it. Don't do that.
Hi, GD, does that mean that you have a professional degree of some sort?
Canadian,
I know it's fucking boring.
Canadian bimbo.
It's supposed to be.
Happy
Get mad at
birthday.
me. Frogman. This it's supposed to be just
Here, I'll lower her. I'm hearing it's very loud.
we back right now. Does DD mean you have some sort of
Canadian bimbo,
I'm gonna block
happy
you. I don't like
birthday. You're old? How old? Cheers.
Sing us a song. Oh. Pig man. Aha. Sharadia.
Okay, hold on.
I
You know what, Canadian bimbo? You shut the fuck up. I'm 44. You're just getting to 44. I've been here for a while, okay? You're right, you are old.
Hey, I actually was looking at the lyrics today. That song, I'm like, no way. Am I just gonna say we back, or am I just going to? I don't know, but at least my jaw works. It's some lockjaw.
Lockjaw
And
is
wow.
devastating.
I look pretty rough. But I'm out of the pen for now. And I don't think I have to stay away. Like, come on, the last thing he said was, I didn't do anything to you. I'm getting out of the country.
This person says, please stay away from Ralph. Only bad things happen. That's really solid advice. It's very solid advice. And this is why I don't want to get into the nature of their relationship. It's not something that I really understand, but it's not my job to, watching from a distance. I'm like, well, I don't get this. When they're screaming at each other, about, like it's like hot and cold, like Katy Perry or whatever. And, it's like, I hate you. I love you. And I'm like, all right, like, I guess. But it's very, very confusing to me, given, what seems to have occurred in some of these situations, but not my life. So, I don't know about that. We do have some very important things going on. Chichunia says, hi, Nick. It's my birthday today. Yay me. Really? I thought you just had a birthday. I don't 8 months of membership. Thank you, Chichunia, thank you for that beautiful member of yours. And we do 8 is very respectable. Very respectable. So that's good. Thank you. Happy birthday, girl. Happy birthday. Oh shit. Kevin Hunsey over on Super Tips.
You are my favorite Jew, knows of me.
Wait. Hold on. It's very important. He says,
You are my favorite Jew, knows of me.
I don't know if he's saying you're my favorite Jew, knows F me, or if he's saying you're my favorite Jew, knows fuck me. I think it might be that one. And I will do that. Hey, Kevin, I've got always appreciate your super chats, of course. I've got a couple of yours that came in last week, but they didn't actually play. Like, they didn't show up for me, so I couldn't play them. We the Rabble says Goy Gold. Thank you. All right, back to Scarlett. Oh wait, this is really important. An honest doubter says, hey Nick, it's not my birthday and my dog didn't die tragically. Please shout out. A big shout out to an honest doubter in his mundane day. We're very proud of him. Thanks, brother. Keep going through that. I don't know how you do it.
Run.
Nose fuck, video or shens?
Like,
shens?
wow, it's pretty.
You think this thing, I mean,
Anyways, the point of this quick live, I mean, people want shit to happen. Nothing's going to happen. I mean, to me, yeah. But yeah, that's taking accountability, is getting an attorney, and which I got an attorney. And yeah, I was in a psych ward for a few days. Hey, do you want to know why?
okay, real quick. So Scarlett is now saying she got an attorney. She's talking about taking accountability. Some of these statements, highly unrecommended. Calling herself a felon, saying she's taking accountability. Now, they're not, these are not admissions, although very likely a prosecutor would want to use those as an admission. So you got to be careful what you say. But this, it's your lawyer, it's your strategy. If I were your attorney, I would caution you on saying stuff like, I'm a felon, I need to take accountability. Like, joking aside, the state doesn't believe in comedy. The state doesn't believe in dark humor, gallows humor, humility, any of that stuff. Like, so when you say it's about taking accountability and you're talking in any way related to a pending criminal case, they will automatically determine that you must be talking about your criminal case and you must be accountable or for something. And so I would just, again, I'm not Scarlett's lawyer. I'm not y'all's lawyer. Just general advice. Probably avoid those types of statements. Kevin says, don't read them. Was hammered. Looks like fake text and planted weapon. We shall see. Barron was good on Julian Dory piece. I'm going to go through the Barron and Julian Dory stream soon. I just haven't had time yet. Thanks, brother. Always appreciate it. And disagreement is fine, right? Like that's the important thing. I mean, I am sending a bunch of bombs to your house in real life because we disagreed online, but I think like it's okay to actually have those.
It's because of Ethan Ralph. Because he said go down the road across the sidewalk, they thought I was saying that I was going to commit suicide, so they put me in a psych ward. That's kind of what happened. So thanks, Ethan, I guess.
So here she blames Ralph, telling her to like go down like across the road. This isn't very clear to me on what this means, but going across the road and going down the street or something equates to kill, like this thought that she was going to kill herself. I'm not sure. Again, I'm not here to discuss what did happen. The question is, how do these things factor into the case? How do these factor into her potential legal defense? And right now, she's got someone with a documented history of encouraging her to kill herself quite a bit, to the point where it's perfectly reasonable to make an argument that could cause people some sort of stress, I guess. And would it work? I don't know. Who knows? But it's reasonable to make that argument that that's going on and that led to this thing. The other thing that she has is Scarlett released some text messages between Ethan Ralph and Alyssa Clips. And in those text messages, there appears to be what one could construe as an effort to get Scarlett 5150'd on a psychiatric hold, which is what actually happened. So there is this chunk of evidence that there may have been a plan to do this, and then those text messages get released, and then it happens. Again, if you want to build a defense case where you're going to blame someone else for something, that's one way to start. And again, I don't know what Scarlett plans to do. Not my concern. This is hypothetical and theoretical.
I had good food, but whatever. It was kind of miserable. Life is, honestly. So whatever. I hate hearing about somebody's broken computer, melting hard drive. all that other shit. Like, stop complaining. And it's okay. You can text me back. I said I'm alive. I texted you today. I don't want a response. I'm just saying I'm alive. I don't have a phone though, but
Okay, so Josie says defense against what she got caught with the bag. Correct. Yeah. So here's the thing. Again, Scarlett gets hospitalized and put in the psychiatric care unit and sedated. Those three facts right there line up to starting to make at least an imperfect defense of she wasn't fully in control of her actions. She wasn't, aware of the decisions she was making, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I believe she's going to say in this video that that bag is not hers. Now, when you start to layer these things together and you don't look at them in isolation, but you look at them as a holistic picture, you have the ability as an attorney, a negotiator, a defendant, to start building a case that someone else put you into an uncontrollable mental state, coerced you into it, forced you into it, beat you into it, whatever it is. I don't know what the facts are. Again, I'm not saying what happened. I'm saying what a hypothetical defense looks like. The state has to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that Scarlett manifested the intent to own what was in that bag. They have to prove that. So they have to prove that she did own the bag and that she was aware of the contents of it. Not like to hyper specificity, not to conspiracy theorist level of like, oh, well, she only thought there were 12 grams in there, but there were 30. No, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about, does she know that there's an illegal substance in that bag? Not does she know that the substance is illegal, but does she know that there is that substance in the bag, and is that substance illegal? Let's be precise as we possibly can for this, because this is where the defense matters. This is one of those cases where being pedantic about every little fucking detail is important, because if you're going to fight it, and Scarlett may just go and plead guilty. I don't know. Like, I have no idea. But if you're going to fight it, what you have to do is you have to be pedantic on every detail. You have to be very clear. Now, the state has to prove, like I said, that she knows that a powdery substance is in that bag. She believes that powdery substance to be cocaine, is the allegation, and or a mixture containing cocaine, and that she intends to own that, to possess it, to have it on her person or with her, whatever possession means. It has some varied meanings, but typically it's what you understand. You have it. I'm possessing this Monster Energy drink right now. It's in my hand. Very easy. Now it's on my desk. I'm still possessing it. I'm the only person here. You put it 40 feet away from me in a room that I'm not in, but someone else is, maybe they possess it. But possession really is, if you have it on you, that's most of possession. It's pretty easy to cover. Unless maybe you didn't know it was in the bag. It's not your bag. The bag was given to you as you were in a psychotic state, psychotic episode, and you had to be sedated, or even after you're sedated. And, here's her bag, drops it on her. Who knows? Who knows? But if you're building a defense here, the question is, whose bag is it? What's in there? What does she know? Those are things the state has to prove. Not that she has to raise. Now, she may raise them or her attorney, more appropriately, would raise them in clever ways for the state to have to overcome those in the minds of a jury. And all of this factors into, maybe most importantly, the plea agreement and the plea negotiation, because making this as difficult as possible for a prosecutor to prosecute means that plea negotiation goes better. Remember, the only witness I'm aware of potentially would be Ethan Ralph. He would be the witness to what happened. So if the state wants to prove that Scarlett owned that bag, They'd probably need testimony from someone. They can't call Scarlett. Now, if her ID's in there, some other stuff, that gets fuzzy. But if, let's say hypothetically, that her ID is not in that bag, that there's nothing that specifically ties Scarlett to that bag other than it's on her person, well, the state has to prove that that's hers. Easy way to do that would be to have someone come in and testify, oh yeah, that's her bag. Well, the person who might do that is Ethan Ralph. Now it gets more complicated for the state too, because they have to determine, do we want to subpoena this ninja and bring him into the United States, etc.? Are they going to offer him some sort of immunity to testify against Scarlett? Is he going to be arrested upon entry for allegations? Who knows? Who knows? This thing gets messy really, really fast. That's why someone was asking, like, why are we covering this? This is why. Like, this becomes a legally interesting case really, really quickly. So we've got Crafty Huragok says, I doubt it because the case is unbreaded on paper. Unbreaded. Touchdown. We the Rabble says, what's your opinion on people using AI and substitute for an attorney? My mom is defending herself pro se and using Claude to help her. I think it's going to be the wave of the future. I think it's going to cut the attorney prices way down or gut a lot of law firms. And they'll move into really boutique practice at some point because the AIs are going to get really, really good at it. And good riddance. Attorneys are fucking lame. Judge Maddie says Sparkles. Miss Sparkles says Sparkles. Nick Knack says, hail, Ricada in chat. Yo, what's with the Matt Murdock look? I'm digging it. Okay. Have a great show. Like, my hair is just long. My hairstylist girl, she moved to a different city. And so like, I don't want to take the dip and have someone else cut my hair. So I've just been busy.
I've never done cocaine. I only have sex with Scarlett sober. Her vagina smells like cocaine. It's how the dogs found her hiding in my luggage. We have terrible sex because my penis is small.
That is a strange thing to say. I don't know. The Ralph voice needs some work, I think.
I agree. Destiny wrong doe, and Perez Hilton is a gay bloodbath.
The Perez Hilton thing is, I haven't watched it. I only read everybody's shock and horror at it, so I don't know about it. Okay, so I think we're caught up. Back to this. Will H says, so Scarlett is in this chat now. She was earlier. I don't know if she's still in the chat now. Yeah, Pants Maestro. It is sad. It is sad. Okay, back to Scarlett here.
I'm not going to talk about that. It was backed up, so don't worry, little pig man. I have everything. And this is just the beginning, okay?
Her phone was broken.
No one can really attest to what I'm going through right now. And
she said her phone was broken, but it's all backed up. Don't worry. She still has everything. She says, little pig man. Yeah, presumably she's talking to Ralph and not, and not like a congressman. And she said, this is only the beginning. So that's kind of ominous. That's kind of ominous. I don't know what any of that means with specificity. But if I had to guess, based on the circumstances, the most logical thing to do, if this is the truth, I don't know, but if this is the truth, the most logical thing to do is to blame the cocaine on Ralph. I mean, I don't know how, that shouldn't be a controversial take. Any attorney is going to suggest that. So long as the attorney doesn't have to lie to raise that, at least the specter of it, right? At least the idea that it's his. And that's going to come with these facts about being threatened, the domestic incident, the details of the domestic incident leading up to this. Those text messages, for example, could come into play. The text messages are kind of a difficult subject as far as like getting them into court specifically. Bringing them into court in Scarlett's case is difficult because of hearsay issues. However, you know, that doesn't mean that those text messages aren't useful to the state. They can be used in other ways, especially if the state starts to try and build a case against Ralph. Now, she says this is only the beginning. In my headcanon, that means that she's about to blame Ralph for cocaine. I don't know if that's true, but that would be what I think, like that's the logical next step. And those ominous sort of words kind of indicate that. And I said this in my short video, and I'll say it again because it bears repeating. If Scarlett is able to successfully blame someone else, doesn't have to be Ralph, anybody else for the cocaine usage. Let's say, or not the cocaine usage, possession. Let's say she blamed me successfully to the state, for example. We'll take Ralph out of this. She says, actually, no, Nick Rekieta, it was his or whatever. And she convinces a jury or even the prosecutor to drop charges, convinces a jury to vote not guilty or whatever, because there's some reasonable doubt that it was mine or something. Hypothetically speaking, that doesn't mean that I'm going to get charged. It's one thing to cast doubt in a criminal case, right? To say this could have happened, this could have happened. The state hasn't sufficiently proved that these things didn't happen. So therefore there's doubt. That's a whole big stretch to go from that to making a charge against a person. For them to then charge me and say, we can prove beyond a reasonable doubt that it's yours. Well, they would have a really difficult time with that. I wasn't in the state. Like, I don't, not involved in any way. So that would be really difficult. Just because you can convince a prosecutor or a jury to drop the charges or find you not guilty does not mean that the next person on the line or the person who's accused of being the actual issue does not mean that they have a successful case against them. So, just because someone may accuse, like if Scarlett were to accuse Ralph, for example, that does not mean that they're going to go and extradite Ralph and bring him into the States and charge him. No. They would have to actually build a case they believe they could prove. And just the word of Scarlett probably is not enough. But we don't know the details of like what was in the bag. We don't know if there's any way to link anything to anybody. No idea. Maybe it's, if it's a bunch of property tax records for Scarlett in the bag, she's fucked. That'll be the end. You'd be like, it's not mine. I've never seen that before in my life. You're done. Like, that's not going to work. But let's say it's a bunch of mail from Merida or whatever, like that was postmarked to Merida and has Ralph's name on it. Well, then we have a different question, right? All right, here we go.
And I appreciate it. I heard Rekieta made a video. Shout out Nick Rekieta.
Hey, that's me. I did.
Anyways, also, leave Kevin Brennan's 18-year-old daughter alone. What the hell? You're not even trying to make yourself not look like a pedophile. Jeez.
Whoa.
Oh, yeah, and you left some things behind when you stole my phone. You left your daughter's necklace thing that you got. So let me know where you want me to mail that, Ethan.
Just casually dropping in the pedophile accusation there. That was, ooh.
You said it was the most important thing. So now I have Bluey and I have your daughter's necklace.
Bluey? The fucking
You don't give a
Australian
fuck.
dog?
And all I'm going to say is I'm going to tell the truth. It's not going to be right now, this minute, today, because it's going to take some time. But what pathetic loser. Like, come on, for real. I mean, come on.
Okay, so this is slow moving at this point, obviously, but I want to address this. Katie K You're going to become an enemy of the channel really quickly. Saying hi to Valhalla. What's up, Valhalla? Says Tom Green guest hosting for Nick. He's killing it. Austin, Massachusetts. So Yussi Rizzo says, so no, she is not going to, I think responding to tell the truth. All lies. She needs time to make shit up. I mean, okay, I don't know what she means. That's a really important thing. I don't know what she means. However, if she's going to quote unquote tell the truth, not today, but it'll take a while. I mean, the criminal process takes a while. And there's a long way to go. Even if she's going to plea out, there's a long way to go. So who knows if that's what she means, or if she means that she's going to go through the criminal process and then say something. Again, less is more. When you are charged with felony drug possession, trust me, the less you say, the better. Kate of the Swiss says, Christ, these two are like a train wreck crashing into another train wreck. That statement makes as much sense as the cognitive abilities of these two. There's a lot of confusing stuff between Scarlett and Ralph. Absolutely. And I don't know that anybody's, supposed to understand it. But, we can, again, I'm here to talk about the law stuff.
Dude, you're so pathetic. Oh, gosh. But hey, I don't hate you, and I really don't feel like saying anything else about you. That's all.
Katie, we're all good now.
Damn. You're not only a snitch and a rat, you're a bitch, too.
See what I was just talking about? Like, it's confusing. He's like, yeah, I don't, I love you. I don't hate you, blah, blah, blah. You're a snitch and a rat and a bitch. She's like, yeah, okay. All right. Again, I don't know. Like this is a hard, and I've passively followed this as it's developed only because of not only because, mainly because of people trying to associate me with a lot of this stuff. What do you do? What do you do? But people tried to associate me into this scenario in a couple different ways. And I had a tangential connection to it. But, what's been going on between them, I'm watching from the sidelines just like you guys and following along. It's fucking impossible. Like, it is impossible to keep up with. Things go back and forth very quickly, and it's difficult. So you can be forgiven if you don't know everything that's going on. By the way, Valhalla is banned from the channel for saying I need a haircut. Everybody who says I need a haircut, you're all banned from the channel now. Your second strike is banned from life. Natalia Murdoch says jammin' like Bob Marley. We the Rabble says, what's the difference between a snitch and a rat? I'm not sure. I think the snitch is something you catch in Quidditch in Harry Potter movies.
And if I did half the things to you that you did to me, wow, dude, it's like you're crying.
Welcome to Ethan Ralph, Scarlett.
I wasn't crying. I actually wasn't crying at all. I'm just like, they're like, you like to party? And I'm just like, huh? And then it cuffs on me. That's fine. I guess I can hold up in jail. I can handle myself very well. I don't know how they treat people, like the kind of things that you've done in jail. I'd like to see how you hold up yourself.
I don't know what Lady Jail is like, but I watched movies from the 70s and 80s, So Lady Jill has a very special definition in my head, right? Lady Jill is awesome. It's usually in Italian and nobody wears any clothes. That's lady prison. And like, if I could go to lady, like I'd probably go to, like, I think I could. But man jail and man prison is very different than lady prison. Although I think there's just as much penetration. So, but half as many holes. Well, I'm 1/3 as many, I guess. There's 1/3 less. A 33% reduction in available input ports, but just as many port abuses happen, I think. So, you know, I don't know what Lady Jill is like, but in my head, it's kind of glorious. Now, and she's kind of this again. I haven't listened. This is my first listen through of this. This leads me down my presupposed conclusion, which is that it kind of looks like there's going to be a report made about Ethan Ralph, blaming the coke on him, a domestic incident, intention to set her up, frame her. This could lead to like an obstruction of justice charge, you know, things like that. I had tweeted speculatively in response to someone who suggested there was a warrant out for Ralph, and they weren't actually suggesting that, but it could be read that way. And I read it that way, and I was like, wait, there's a warrant out, like a drug warrant? And I said, that would be devastating. Ralph was like, you know more than me. And he got kind of ruffled that I thought that a warrant out for Ralph's arrest on drug charges would be devastating for him. It would be absolutely catastrophic. It'd be absolutely catastrophic because a drug warrant, felony drug warrant, especially at this level, is extraditable. That means that the Mexican authority would pretty happily grab Ralph, revoke whatever immigrant status he may have in Mexico, and ship him directly to the FBI in the United States. They would have no qualms doing that. The only thing that would slow them down is if Ralph had achieved Mexico's permanent residency status. I don't think he has. I think he mentioned, again, I don't know, but if he hasn't achieved his permanent resident status in Mexico, if he's there on a tourist visa, even if it's long term, even if he's able to stay there for like a year at a time or whatever, if he doesn't have permanent residency, he doesn't have access to Mexico's extradition protections. They will strip your immigration status and mail you to the United States. So they'll FedEx you in or whatever, right into the hands of a U.S. Marshal or FBI agent. You'll get off the plane in handcuffs. So, and Josie says, nah, I heard him say his visa is up this year, I believe. Yeah, I heard something similar, but I don't know. Like, and he could be lying. He could have permanent residence. He could be a citizen. Who knows? Like, we wouldn't know. But yeah, taking him at his word, him saying his visa is up this year means he doesn't have a permanent residency. That means that Mexico will happily strip the American of their tourist status, tourist privileges, and they'll ship them back. That'd be bad for Ralph, I would think. I wouldn't want that to happen to me if I were in his shoes. So I would think that that's bad. That's not saying anything about Ralph. That's not saying they could prove guilt or anything like that. But if they issued a warrant, for drugs, that's certainly a possibility. Now, domestic violence, if it's felony level, and we're going to get to that, if it's felony level domestic violence, it's certainly possible to also get extradition there. You got to think of, from a policy perspective, Mexico and the United States, there's immigration tension, there's drug trade tension, there's cartel tension. If you have an American involved in the drug trade at any step, I literally just mean if an American is like purchasing drugs or whatever, but living in Mexico, Mexico doesn't want that smoke. They don't want to expend resources protecting an American citizen from America's justice system. They'll do that. So that, that's the scarier policy question for Ralph in the event of an accusation. We don't know that an accusation is going to be made. We don't know that they would follow up with an accusation, but the things Scarlett is saying kind of make it look like she intends to at least start deflecting or placing the blame into Ralph's lap.
Pig man. Anyways, I know this little bitty clip is gonna make you upset. Aw, poor Piggy. Go back on your tequila live stream. And also, shout out to a very special attorney who sent me, I got the gifts, and I'll post a picture.
That's not me, to be very clear. That's not me. I know she mentioned me earlier. I don't want to, I don't want people to be confused. I don't know who that is. I don't know what's going on there, but that's not me.
Later, I got a beautiful hat. It's beautiful. It has 4 stars and then an empty star, 5-star hat.
That sounds like a Medicare hat.
It's me perfect. I've been wearing it since I got out of jail, actually. It's really nice. It's classic. It's a real hat. So thanks, Daddy Jim, for the hat. And I got the mug. I got a mug, too. So thanks to... let's be nice. Johnny, be good. Johnny, be good now, boy. Hey, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, I was just letting you guys know I was alive. That could have been different for sure. It got exciting there, but he banged my head into a lamp, and then he choked me with both hands, trying to choke me. And then all I had to do was kick the fat fuck off me, and he fell into the air conditioner. I laughed. And then he got up and he grabbed my phone and he broke it. And then he stole it. And so then he threw it. So then I'm in the parking lot looking for my phone. And
okay. All right. Again, we don't know what's true, what's not true, blah, 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 blah. Allegations. Hit her head into a lamp, or hit her head with a lamp. Well, that's not good. If you use an object to strike someone in the head, you're very quickly looking towards felony level domestic assault. We can maybe even get, let's see if I can get a little bit of an idea. Indiana domestic assault. All right. Here we go. So family, domestic or family violence means, except for an act of self-defense, the occurrence of one or more of the following acts committed by a family member or household member, family or household member. Now, I don't know exactly how Indiana defines that. In Minnesota, a domestic cohabitant, for example, like a roommate, would be considered domestic violence. Also, like an intimate partner or romantic partner. Romantic partners are not necessarily limited to sexual partners, but that's the easiest way to kind of deal with it. But an intimate partner, even if they don't live together, would be considered domestic as well. And then, of course, close family members. So I don't know these like family or household member definitions, but we'll assume that domestic assault is in question here. Attempting to cause, threatening to cause, or causing physical harm to another family member or household member without legal justification placing a family or household member in fear of physical harm without justification, causing a family member or household member to involuntarily engage in sexual activity by force, threat of force, or duress. Based on things that have been said in this scenario, all three of those apply, potentially. Now, not all in this incident, but things that have been said throughout this. But who knows? This is he said, she said stuff. And I'm not, I'm not here to arbitrate that. I'm just saying all three of those have been bandied about. Abusing, as described in that statute, torturing, mutilating, or killing a vertebrate animal without justification with the intent to threaten, blah, 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 intimidate, coerce, harass. So you can't kill someone's dog or cat in front of them to do stuff. Domestic or family violence also includes stalking or a sex offense, whether or not the stalking or sex offense is committed by a family household member. Okay, so that's the definitions. Okay, I don't want definitions. Oh my God. Domestic relations. Their code is laid out different than mine. I'm not used to looking at it. Let's see. I'm going to pull this other website up real quick. Domestic battery typically requires intentional or reckless physical contact or harm toward a household or dating partner. Injuries may be minor or serious, but the act can trigger penalties. Well, what are these felony level? All right. I'm wasting too much time here. Let's just do it this way. Let's do it the old-fashioned way. Typically speaking, you have an assault against someone else is a misdemeanor in most states. Aggravating factors can raise it to gross misdemeanor or felony. Once you start hitting someone in the head, and especially with an object, you start to get into the realm of you're now potentially causing or intending to cause serious bodily harm. Head injuries are, they can be really, really bad. They can be life-threatening, just hitting someone with a heavy object. So you've got that. But now you've got in strangulation, according to her accusation. He attempted to choke her with both hands. Strangulation is often a separate defined statute. Like I said, I don't want to go through the Indiana Code. Maybe I'll look it up in a future episode, but you've got some issues with strangulation. So either of those things becoming felony domestic violence would be very, very bad to have, because if those were applied, if the state attorney or county attorney or whatever who's charged Scarlett in negotiation says, hey, maybe she pleads to like a really low level possession charge, like the lowest level felony, or maybe even a gross misdemeanor for disorderly conduct or something like that. Right? Maybe she pleads to that and in exchange provides information about this other person who is now alleged to be involved in drug trafficking and or domestic violence. The domestic violence fueling the trafficking of drugs. That suddenly becomes a really bad problem for Ralph. I'm not saying this is going to happen. We don't know. But that's the type of scenario that she seems to be hinting at here. The blue dot says, Rackets, ignore the chat. The Floby cut looks good on you. Oh, thank you. I do have 2 Flobies. Gen X Medic says, also understand this is just outside Chicago. Right. It's East Chicago, actually. So right before like Gary, Indiana. Really not a great place to be. With the same policies, this is Ethan Ralph. They might go after him for being Ethan Ralph. Okay, so what Gen X Medic is saying is that they're a bunch of white racists and Ralph is black, and so they may prosecute him for that. I think that's what he's saying.
I did not go to jail because I pulled the fire alarm. They actually did not charge me for pulling the fire alarm because I was chasing a felon at the time, and I became a felon too, I guess, but allegedly.
She needs to stop saying that she has become a felon. You're not a felon until you are convicted of a felony. I'm not even a felon.
So it was not my bag. So anyways, all things aside, I'm alive. I'm okay. I was beat up pretty bad, but.
Okay, so this is a good question. Ep didn't says, Nick, there's no domestic violence being charged here. Why even entertain this shit? Well, not now. So for domestic violence charges, there typically has to be a complaint, and the prosecution has to be pretty certain that a quote unquote victim is going to be available to testify, is going to reliably testify, etc. There's no domestic violence charges if no one reports anything. Sure. But that doesn't mean there won't be or there couldn't be. There certainly could be, but there, as I've stated throughout this whole thing, a whole lot of facts have to come into play for them to decide to charge Ralph with domestic violence or with drug charges. And Scarlett can attempt to deflect onto Ralph without him getting charged. Without him getting charged. But if they do decide that they have enough evidence for probable cause, then a warrant gets issued. And that's a bad scenario. So why even entertain this shit? Because it's certainly a possibility. And it's completely reasonable that it hasn't been charged yet, but it could be charged in the future. But that depends on what the actual facts are. I don't know. I don't know at all. But there are indications here that there was domestic violence under the statute if Scarlett's telling the truth. If she's telling the truth and Ethan hit her head with a lamp and tried to choke her, domestic violence charges are not out of the question. Now, they could even charge Scarlett and completely, like, just, they could throw her in prison for like 9 years for the amount of cocaine that she was caught with, right? They could, in theory, they could do that. And based on what she says, and maybe a video that exists on Twitter, for example, and maybe other instances that she may have recorded at some point of domestic violence, they could still charge the domestic violence like that they could do. Doesn't necessarily have to be impacting the other case. Like if they get enough information, they can decide to do what they want to do. I'm not saying any of this will happen. I don't even know, if Scarlett's being truthful here. Who knows? A lot of people would say she isn't, or that, they don't believe her. And a lot of people would say they do believe her. So we're just exploring the legal possibilities that are out there. Because that's what we talk about sometimes. We the Rebels has got to spank and rack out, debating on keeping this playing for the first half. Have a great night. Peace. Oh, yeah. Definitely keep it playing for the first half.
I didn't lose. I'm back and I'm sober. So we'll see what happens now, Mr. Big Pig Man. We'll see what happens now. Because you can't just think, oh, she's dead. I tried to kill her. I broke her.
Okay, so now we've got some interesting stuff happening here. She says she's sober now. Again, I don't know what's going on. But if one were to be attempting to lay blame on another person who is involved and who is also famously and publicly involved in Scarlett's non-sobriety, and if there were, say, allegations, for example, let's say there were allegations of coercion into creating a sex tape. Let's say there were threats against Scarlett's friends. Let's say there were threats against Scarlett. Let's say there was all kinds of potential emotional abuse. And let's say that maybe one of the conditions of that was non-sobriety. Participate with me with these drugs. Otherwise, blah, 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 blah. She said she's sober now, so we'll see what happens. One, it's good that she's sober. That's the first good thing. I think that's a positive improvement in this scenario. But two, if you're going to maybe suggest that you were coerced or forced into non-sobriety, and that maybe that the drugs that were found were not yours because you were coerced or forced or threatened into carrying something for someone else or holding on to something so they could avoid blame. I don't know. There's some language here that kind of seems like maybe that's what's going on, but I have no idea.
Oh, and she's gone. No, motherfucker. You're not. You got the pill stream. So illustrious and stupid. Fuck you. And now you're going on the Dabbleverse? You're bothering Kumia? You're bothering Brennan? Who are you trying to pick fights with, you pervert weirdo? Fucking.
Josie says she was doing coke before she even met Ethan. And that is a mitigating factor. But let's take a peek at that real quick. Do you know she was doing coke before she met Ethan? Or do you suspect she was doing coke before she met Ethan? Do you have more evidence that she was doing coke after meeting Ethan or before? Now, just because someone says that Scarlett's doing coke or whatever, and a lot of people did when she first hit the scene, they're saying she's on stuff, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I have no idea. But just because someone says you're doing coke doesn't mean you are. Trust me. Like people say I am all the time, and I'm stone fucking sober. That being said, once they got together, there's actual like live stream evidence, not of them doing coke, but of, discussions about drug use and partying and all that stuff. That definitely came about afterwards. I believe that Scarlett maintained that prior to getting involved with Ethan, she was not actually using substances. I believe, but I could be wrong. This isn't up for me to answer. Again, I'm not her attorney. I don't have to prove this case or provide information to a DA or anything like that. And I'm not the DA who has to potentially overcome this stuff. But just because some people believe that she was on cocaine or some other substance prior to Ralph, that becomes a whole lot of back and forth and who will testify to what, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. There are people who may have been with her when she did cocaine or not. I don't know. I have no idea. So, but again, all I'm saying is the words that she's laid out here kind of look like it's possible that she's setting up to at least deflect.
Brennan's daughter just turned 18. Why the fuck are you posting pictures of her as a thumbnail? Like, what the fuck, freak? Did you send her a birthday present? Like, you're talking about other people's birthdays. Like, your son's birthday present is still in the back of my car, so. Anyways, it's an ongoing thing, I guess. But I'm drinking coffee now.
Hank Hill says, nah, just boatloads of Look, you stop talking about my private life, please.
Everybody chewing gum, drinking coffee, and I'm sober. So this is me. Anyways, I'll be sober a long time, and I'm proud of that. Longer than 3 days. I mean, it's been over a week. So, I have a clear head. I mean, I could go get all. Yeah, I mean, but why? I have responsibilities. I have reunited with people that love me, and I'm in a safe place. And that's why I went live, just to announce that. And dude, I don't think we have to worry about that. Don't worry about it.
She's
He
saying,
took my phone, but
don't worry about banning Ralph.
I
from
just
the
didn't
United
have
States.
signal. I have WhatsApp and my messages on my laptop right now. I probably need some help with the Authenticator app thing. If anybody knows about that. I had a Google Authenticator app on my phone, which I used for certain things. And then I have to research that, because I think since it's my Google account, I can just log into an authenticator, the Google Authenticator app on my laptop, and pull up the same codes. Otherwise, I'm kind of fucked if I do get logged out again.
Long last name says, Nick is going to be streaming EverQuest Legends live streams in about a week. I've thought about it a lot, but and I pre-ordered it, but I haven't played it yet. I want to, but I'm really intent on getting my CLEs done first. So I'll probably do that before really diving into it. But believe me, like, I've got the itch to play it. I think it'd be fun. But yeah, I got other things that are higher on the food chain.
But Google is really helpful compared to a lot of these companies. Hey, come on. I am an adult. I just went and had some fun. I learned my lesson though. Come on. Time to be a big girl. Yeah, I know. I got it. I agree. But
some of us have to get
arrested. Isn't it cool that I get out of jail and now right away I'm wearing my Medicare hat right now. So it's really nice.
Luxurious.
I don't want to get another one. Maybe a few. I mean, I should have listened to Daddy Jim, and I went back to the Pigman and Piggy. God darn it, Ethan. Okay, we did have sex in the bathroom though while the Thorpes were out there, but I don't know why you got so mad at the Thorpes for. Like, I wanted to go sing karaoke and shit. Like,
that's something I will never understand. I won't understand that at all.
If you sang karaoke, none of this shit would happen. You should have just listened to Ben. Damn it.
You know, I gotta say, like, karaoke does not prevent you from getting arrested for cocaine. I want to go on record and say that from personal experience, it doesn't matter how much karaoke you sing, that will not stop you from getting arrested for cocaine possession. I did a lot of karaoke. I was down bad.
You got Daddy Ben and Daddy Jim. Should have just listened, Ethan. Anyways, can't make things more interesting for anyone.
You already
This is about as long as I'm gonna go.
That's what she said.
I'm sorry. Okay, I'm going to blame two people. There's more, but not for my own actions and my own court thing. That is totally separate. That is my responsibility. However, Ethan.
Again, a hugely ill-advised statement. At this point, Stop saying anything is your responsibility. Just don't talk about responsibility or accountability related to your court case at all. What is this? Vlad Ryan says, I don't mean to be rude, but Nick would be too weak for Con Air. Like the hair dryer or the Nick Cage movie? Wow. God. No respect. If you do all the coke while you do the karaoke, boom, no more possession. Again, the dumbest part of American drug laws is that if you do all the drugs, they can't prove that you are in possession of a specific amount. They can't. That's dumb. That's backwards. Someone who owns an ounce of cocaine and never ever in their life does it, right? But they just have an ounce of cocaine that just sits on the shelf for 20 years. Their house gets raided. Cops find it. They're like, what is this? That is a felony, like of the highest order. Someone who does 15 ounces of cocaine over the span of a year and they do it all, no charges. They can't charge them. They don't have any. How does that make sense? How does that drug law make any sense? And this is, of course, because they have to regulate drugs through the Commerce Clause, which is all about the purchasing, selling, and possession of something. They can't punish the action. Well, I think some states have done that, but it's questionable. Like punishing the action of doing a drug is a weird thing. Where does that power come from? But anyway, I don't know how you solve it. I mean, obviously, I think that drugs in the long term, I've never thought that this is an overnight thing, but I think they should be fully legal eventually. But I think it's got to be phased in. I don't think America is ready for an immediate, like, all drugs are legal. I think that would be a disaster. And this is someone who, like, I have no moral opposition to it. I don't have any like rational problem with it. It's like anything else. It can be very detrimental if you get too far into it. Obviously, there are addiction issues and all that stuff. But I think people are allowed to make, or should be allowed to make their own decisions and manage their own lives. As far as the government is concerned, maybe not their community, their family, whatever, other people need to take over. That's not the government's role. But I don't think that would happen tomorrow and be good. But it is it's a question of how do we manage this issue, and should the government be involved at all? The government has been involved for a long time, so you'd have to unwind anything, but I think ultimately, no. Mersh says she was live again as of 5 minutes ago. Also, thanks for the lovely gift. You are welcome. You are welcome. Enjoy. Enjoy the glasses. Enjoy the glasses and the asses, my friend. Kate of the Swiss says, so what I'm hearing is that Nick wants to get the EverQuest band back together. That's no, not really. Not really. And the whole point of EverQuest Legends is you don't have to have the band. You can play most of it completely solo. Are you still with your fine wife, bro? I am. Yes. We had a very nice day together at the Mall of America, managing some kids who were hanging out and letting them run around and, kind of just keeping an eye on them and keeping them out of trouble.
Ralph, you need to grow up like mommy Alyssa. So Alyssa Clips is your mommy.
Gross.
Jeez.
Wait a minute. No, right?
Thank God.
Alyssa can't be your mommy. She abandons children. Ralph, run. Go find a better one.
I mean, I don't even have kids of my own. So, but those messages on Alyssa's phone, dude, like, you guys were talking about me hoping that I committed suicide. Like,
so again, what I talked about earlier, she just said there, Ralph and Alyssa were talking about hoping that Scarlett commits suicide. I tried to read through the texts. They're presented in like a weird order, and some of them are really, really blurry. I don't know that I fully agree with that characterization, but I might not have read all of them. However, that said, again, this is one of those facts that turns us from an ordinary possession case into an extraordinary one. And that extraordinary possession case says there are facts here which might make this person not necessarily liable, or might make it in the interest of the state to find this person less liable than they otherwise would. Long last name says, but the EverQuest band is playing also, and you can 8-man raid. I'm always up for an 8-man raid. Wait, long last name. I've seen you talk a couple times in chat about like, we didn't play EverQuest together. I said name, but it's Neme. We didn't play EverQuest together, did we? I don't think so.
This is like coerced death. It's like what Joe Exotic allegedly did, and he's in jail for. Like, honestly, free Joe Exotic. Let's trade Ethan Ralph. Like, switch him in and out. Like, let's free the Tiger King. Get some pussy back out there.
Oh, long last name says we met at Anime Matsuri years ago. Okay, but you weren't. The other guy, Halbelow, he was from the guild I played in EverQuest. I mean, we've played together for several hours for a while. So sorry, I was like, wait, there's not like another one, is there?
Or the other way around. Like, put the pussy in the pen. Like, put the piggy in the pussy and the pen. And it's kind of sad. Like, why don't you just go, like, fuck up someone else's life, Ethan? Fuck up Alyssa's life. Last thing Ethan said is,
Personally, I would prefer Ralph to stop fucking up other people's lives and then his own in that order. That would be good. Because and I think he needs to do that. Ralph has this thing where he like seems to believe that he is one, like competent to fuck up other people's lives and capable, but also that he should, which both of those are dumb beliefs, and he should really focus on unfucking up his own life the most. I think that would be, but he's got to stop trying to fuck up other people's lives first, because as long as he's trying to do that, he won't unfuck his own. But that would be the best. I don't know that he has to go after Alyssa or anything, but although that'd be kind of funny.
just want to see you. Aw, you're sad. Let's have a fun stream. That was that day. I said, no, I can't. I'm not going to see you anymore. You did this and then. It's my fault. Yeah. But I think the last thing I said was help me at 4:18 a.m. He left me on the street again. And I called, no answer. I said, help me, help me. And then he said, I don't know what you mean. I've done nothing wrong. I'm already scheduled to go home. Yeah. I didn't block him on anything. I don't have time. My life is more busy than that. So.
Yeah, and this is something I don't quite get. Again, Scarlett and Ethan both have made intimations that that neither of them are good for the other one, but they keep ending up back together, and for whatever reason. That's to their that's their choices to make, but it seems like maybe blocking is something that shouldn't be too busy. So someone just said, but who was it? Okay, Dirty Sippy Cup says, I just went to Scarlett's stream happening on X now, and she is going nuts harder. Maybe we'll pop in there in a second. Vlad Riot says, Nick, do you ever talk to Vic? Not really. Not really. Adriana B. Wait. Adriana. Adriana Bruni and Company. God, it used to be just Adriana B's Custom Furniture. Member for 9 months says, how are you doing? Just saying hello. Hello. Welcome. I need to get back to you. You sent me an email. I think I need to respond to that. Real quick. Also, you played on Quanos. Okay. I played on, I think, Solusek Row and then Aone Row or something like that. Vic keeps getting canceled. It's ridiculous. Still? Adriana says, you do this every single time. Well, yeah. Vic went off at Anime Matsuri this year. It's a good rant. Yeah, I haven't. Is there a video of it somewhere? I haven't seen it.
I did have someone said something about a decoy laptop. Well, I'm sorry he's having laptop issues, but
a decoy
anyways,
laptop, like Maddox with his decoy wallet, so his other wallet doesn't get stolen.
I'll do my best. I'll stay clean, sober.
What's up, Melody?
Mwah.
Okay, so she said she's gonna stay clean and sober. So hopefully that would be, I think, a good step for her. But people are adults. They do their own thing. So it says that Scarlett is live right now. We're not going to sit and watch this whole thing, but we're going to pop in real quick. And see what she's.
Saving Abel. Yeah, it's called The Sex is Good. That's the only compliment. I mean, the sex was good. But like the sex wasn't like the good kind of sex. Like
live right now.
I'm talking about, it was like,
I don't know what. Lust
versus love, core themes. It causes the disconnect between physical attraction and actual romantic feelings. Like people can't understand why.
Why are we, Scarlett? Why are you talking about
Ethan Ralph? Like actually, it's actually hilarious because you can't deny attraction, and that makes me actually based because
like the biggest hit song.
If I'm attracted to somebody that people can't understand why I was attracted to them, what I wasn't attracted to was him running away from a woman and me always having to
long lasting
carry the weight, but it taught me a lot. So in a way, that's better than being a parent sometimes, is being in a bad relationship where you learn to become the parent to the person that is already a parent that just didn't know how to be, right? Okay, Aharo. So Aharo is one of those Kiwi farm people, right? That we're trying to charge back the kill stream. Hey, what happened to that AI song, everybody? Like, charge back the kill stream. Charge back the kill stream.
Okay.
Kiwi farm.
If she's not
it was going on when I was like,
situation.
I'm not shooting a porn scene for $750. Fuck you. Yeah, I mean, I said, if you can get it up, right? Like, I mean, I don't even know what VIP likes is. I don't gotta buy bots and fake donations to shoot porn, to have sex, to get people that will listen to my.
I need to buy bots to have sex. That's
roaded voice talk. No, I was actually told in jail that I was hot.
I told you, Lady Jill was awesome.
Mexicano type ladies. Well, Ethan, kind you can't even score living in a foreign country. Like I love to see Ethan face some of these people that I'd love to see him face a Jew. Like a real Jew. Like I told him, you should do the Whatever podcast. not or the Fresh and Fit. I think Ethan just wanted to threaten the Fresh and Fit people because he knows that he's too scared to go in a live space when these people are all humble enough to be in a live space, not being paid, just talking about topics they're passionate about, like a based American, because they're proud to be an American. And I will respect to that. He threatened people like Josie, who's this woman I met in a live space, who the first thing I think he called her was whore, but that's the first thing Kevin Brennan called me anyways, was whore. Where's the sloppy whore or whatever.
Jewish. They are now.
Thanks, Kevin Brennan.
They are now.
Like Ethan went after you while I was in jail. You didn't think I wouldn't notice that? I didn't even look into it much.
Fresh
but
and Fit.
Ethan started to go after my allies while I
and
was in jail. Like he went after Nick Rekieta. He went after Anthony Cumia. He went after Kevin Brennan. Kevin Brennan's daughter said that he'd break her in. What a sick fuck. Ethan, go be a dad. You have a daughter, motherfucker. Do you want some 40-year-old creep saying they're going to break in your daughter when she turns 18, Ethan Ralph? You fucking piece of sick shit. Leave Kevin Brennan alone.
Talking about sex is one of the weirdest things
Like
ever.
the whole shit about
So
Kevin Brennan stood up for me. And he's also on the fence on everything. He's nobody's clear friend. The whole Chad Zumach thing, whatever. Like, Chad Zumach steals credit cards. I don't give a fuck. Chad Zumach could take a joke. That's the thing. I called Chad Zumach the Zomucker, and I called him Chestnut Chad. And know what? He laughed. He started to address himself as Chestnut Chad. There's even a fan group on Twitter now, Chestnut Chad fan group, and all this other stuff. He's a comedian who could take a joke. And Ethan Ralph likes to talk about all these failed comedians. Well, that's not your place to talk about that, Ethan. You're not a failed comedian. You never were one. But
I mean, to be
you were trying to be taken seriously, and
failed comedian.
There's something called an LOL cow. As much as you hate that term, that's why you post porn and revenge porn on cow, because
not a wrong description.
That's your favorite site. You said free horror and you doxed me and this and that, and then you said no, that wasn't me. That was Chief. So hey, Chief, you know that one's on you too.
Okay, so yeah, she's trying. Someone said she was kind of going off earlier. I was hoping we were going to get more details. I'll probably have to wait till the Spaces is done, or the Twitter broadcast is done, and go back and listen to it and see if that would be appropriate for another episode. But I don't want to, I'm not just going to sit and listen to Scarlett's musings on whatever stuff. Some of it's funny, of course, but what we're interested in is, are there any more details that make the case analysis any different? Right now, based on what we saw in the last video, audio or whatever, it really looks like she is setting up to attempt to defend from her charges by blaming Ralph. This is the most obvious play. It doesn't have anything to do with Ralph. There's another person there. And unless you are really trying to cover for that person, you should always make the state prove that it wasn't that person's stuff. Like that, just as this doesn't involve any accusations, allegations of domestic abuse. Like that's all extra stuff. It's all extra stuff that she, whatever she does with that, she left some intimations that maybe that would come into play. We don't know. The most important thing from a legal defense perspective, and again, speaking as a detached attorney would look at this case. They go, there's another person there. There's a recorded domestic incident. There's chatter online about this person harassing her. I'm going to say the word cyber stalking, even though most people think of stalking, they think of following, and that's typically what's there. But a lot of cyber stalking and harassment has overlap, where if you're using the internet to do your harassing, it's called, some states call it cyber stalking or cyber harassment. So please understand, I'm using the term that way. I'm not saying that there's stalking and following and that type of stuff going on, although there could be, but I don't have any information about that. But there does seem to be using mass communication, social media, or telecommunications to repeatedly tell her to kill herself and to impact her mental state. That happened, I believe, from the Ralph and Alyssa text messages. Ralph had indicated that had stopped and had not been happening for months. These factors are important, of course. They're important in all of these things. But if you're a defense attorney and you're looking at this, you go, there's another person present. There's a bag. She comes in and needs to be sedated because she's not coherent. Now you've got a lot of ways to blame someone else. And then you sprinkle on these extra facts, and it makes perfect sense from a pure defend your client perspective to do this. Doesn't matter if it was Ralph or if it was any other person on earth. And again, using that person to deflect blame does not get that person charged. It's all about getting your client not convicted or to have their punishment reduced as much as possible. That's the whole goal here from a defense attorney perspective. And so that's what I'm talking about. She seems to have indicated that maybe there's more she's going to do than just that, but we don't know. I think the main thing that this does is it gives us a little bit of insight as to where Scarlett seems to be, where her counsel seems to be, and what the current strategy is. All this could change in a moment. All this could change, and I could be misreading it, but that would be my read. And again, despite me saying over and over, like, this isn't about accusing Ralph. There's no accusation. We don't have any facts. Even the videos with alleged domestic violence occurring between them, there's not enough facts in those videos that we can discern to say that there's a crime that occurred. Because let's say there was a video of Ralph like pushing her or whatever. I don't even know what's on the videos, but let's say there was. Ralph may have a perfectly justifiable defense for it. If Scarlett was out of control and was angry or inconsolable and she like swung at him or struck at him, maybe there'd be a reason for him to defend himself. So it's not about the truth or falsity of it. It's about forcing the state to overcome the possibility, the reasonable doubt that it's the other person. There's a lot of facts in this case that point to the possibility of it being the other person. What becomes of that, we don't know. Scarlett has also contradicted this, though, by saying it's her responsibility, her accountability, et cetera, et cetera. She needs to be a big girl. She just wanted to have fun. Those could mean a lot of things. A prosecutor would use every one of those sentences, every single one of those statements, no matter what she actually meant, and will say she is admitting to possessing the drugs or to at least participating sufficiently to be responsible for it. That would be, his counter argument. And the prosecutor is similarly wanting to build up a case. And most importantly, a case like this, first-time offense with a radically high drug charge. Now, I have experience in this, very personal experience in this. The critical case building here is not the trial. The critical case building is the person-to-person argument where a defense attorney convinces tries to convince a prosecutor that a good plea deal is a better proposition than the risk of losing at trial. That good plea deal is worth it. You've got a first-time offender, potential domestic violence victim, potential coercion victim, and potential framing victim. All of those things that the prosecutor has to look at and decide, do I want to overcome these? What is my strategy to overcome these? Do I need to bring in this Ralph person as a witness? Is there another witness? What else can we do? How can we prove that that bag is hers? Is there identification in there? Is there mail? Are there only female items in there? All sorts of things that they could try and use to prove that the bag belongs to Scarlett. But maybe that bag has stuff that belongs to Ralph in it. Ralph's daughter's bracelet, Scarlett mentioned that. If that's in that bag, Does anybody remember what she said about that bracelet? Was that in the bag? She said there was a gift for his son, Xander, I think, in the back of her car. I feel like maybe she said that Ralph's daughter's bracelet is in the bag. If that's the case, that leans towards the bag belonging to Ralph. Now, she said she had it, and what she says might really matter there. If she says, you gave it to me and I put it in the bag, I don't think she said that. But if she did, you know, the prosecutor's going to look at that and go, okay, that's an admission that that's her bag, right? But if she says, in that bag, they also found your daughter's bracelet. Where do you want me to mail your thing that's in that bag? That's a critical fact that could prove possession, ownership of that bag. Who does it belong to? Who has the cocaine in there? Utopia Simulator says she doesn't have that bag anymore. Right. But after they catalog some of those items, she may have some of the items from the bag. Don't know. Don't know. I'll tell you, when they busted open my safe, right, and took the drugs, they took the drugs and some of the paraphernalia items, but there were other items in the safe that they didn't touch. You know, the trivial stuff. Now, if they were going to use that bracelet, for example, they probably would have kept it. But maybe they just took a photo of it. They don't need the bracelet specifically. Kevin says, oh, now you're doing what if? I'm not doing what if. I'm trying to remember what she said specifically about the bracelet, because these are just questions that need to be considered by both sides, right? Because what I'm talking about here is not a trial. Remember this. I'm talking about the negotiation between the defense attorney and the prosecutor. The defense attorney's job in the negotiation is to say this alternative path has a better guaranteed outcome than your downside risk of a trial. You have to prove all these things. You might be able to do it, but it might be really difficult, might be costly, might waste your time. This is a first-time offender. Even if she's found guilty, you know, the judge may take pity on her, blah, blah, blah. There are mitigating circumstances. A jury may decide to nullify it. You know, all of these things need to be considered in this discussion, because it isn't about what's true. It's about what you can convince the other side that they have to prove that will make them go, God, I really don't want to fucking do that. That's what that's about. So I'm not engaging in what ifs, except to the extent that each side is going to be arguing, well, what if? Like, what if you have to overcome these things? What if you have to overcome this? Plus, what do we know? We know very little. We know very little. Kevin, thank you for the super chat. He says, oh, now you're doing what if on this case and not Charlie. If Charlie, if Tyler Robinson is talking about a plea deal, there's a bunch of what ifs. There's a bunch of what ifs, of course. Absolutely. And they would want to convince the prosecutor that the plea deal is a better option than a public trial, right? Like that would be the goal. Now, the prosecutor wants a public trial. Defense doesn't want a public trial, so that's kind of tough. The other thing is, Tyler Robinson, the main thing Tyler Robinson's defense team is doing right now is trying to mitigate the death penalty. Right now, the judge has ruled that the death penalty is still on the table. That's very bad for Tyler. But the defense team is going to try to knock that out. If they don't knock that out, very possible that we go into discussions about a plea, and that plea is life in prison without parole. And that plea deal will mean he won't die in prison. That he'll die in prison, but he won't be killed sooner. You know what I'm saying? So that is certainly a possibility. At present, we don't have indication that there's a plea deal. But it's way different to have a capital murder case with the death penalty on the line than it is to have a high-level drug charge as a first offender. first offender on a drug charge, trust me, you can not go to jail. You can plead guilty and not go to jail at all, depending on the circumstances. And I think Scarlett's got a good case to make some arguments that she should avoid jail time. There are mitigating circumstances, and you know, a judge may just take pity. And also, let's be real. Crying women have a better go of it in the criminal justice system than men ever will. It is not even close. Crying women do way better. Crying thin women do excellent. Crying thin white women do fantastic. They can get out of a lot of stuff because a judge is still a human. And crying white women, man, men and women want to protect those. Crying men, put them in prison forever. That's how it works out. Kevin also says,
I was on Talon Zeke on PvP, then won lottery 10 mil. Looked her up, was a ass fact vid. Free Scarlett.
That's probably what you would find if you looked her up. Yes. You won $10 million on the lottery? That's so fucking cool. Congrats, buddy. I was wondering. He says, but her DNA is on the bag. She did it. Guilty. See, again, that's possible, right? But if Ralph's DNA is on the bag, whose DNA is in the bag is another question. Where they find the DNA, and again, what other items are in there. So I know you're trying to draw comparisons to the Tyler Robinson case and this case. One of the things that we have here that's a little bit different is we have the defendant making some statements, right? Whereas Tyler Robinson hasn't really made many statements outside of his alleged text messages and Discord messages. So he hasn't since made other statements. So we don't have like his version of facts. Here we have the defendant's version of facts, and that's why we've been going through it. Utopia Simulator says, this is the drug version of Me Too. And, you know, you can say that, you can not say, like, again, it doesn't really matter about, I know that like some people have trouble discerning this thing, but saying this is how you logically defend this crime is not the same as saying this is what you should do to go after Ralph. It's not about going after Ralph. From her defense attorney's perspective, Ralph is irrelevant, right? Him being pursued or not pursued by the state, completely irrelevant to the defense attorney unless the prosecutor offers a deal in exchange for testimony against Ralph. That's a different thing, right? We have no indication that that's happened. What we do have is a very likely scenario that Scarlett has an interest in her a legal defense interest in using the presence of Ralph and the presence of facts surrounding their relationship that was very tumultuous to generate doubt. That's what matters. That's it. It's not about going after Ralph. It's about clearing Scarlett from the defense attorney perspective. And most of the time, if you can deflect enough blame onto someone else, they're not getting charged, right? Already the state has invested enough interest in the person that they did charge, where you get into, like, let's say Scarlett is acquitted. And let's take Ralph out of it and say there's a person named Bill. And she successfully blames Bill. She says Bill was coercing her. Bill was blackmailing her and Ralph, et cetera, et cetera. And they she successfully blames Bill, right? And deflects her own guilt onto this person. He forced them to do this stuff. He forced them to do drugs and have sex in front of him. Who knows? Right? Like, let's say that happened. The state goes after Scarlett and fails. And then they run the next case against Bill. They're like, aha, well, we failed against her. Now we're going to go against Bill. The first thing Bill's defense attorney is going to do is going to say, we're going to ask why. We're going to make very clear to the jury that you failed prosecuting someone else and now you're throwing a dart at my client. We're going to ask why my client is suddenly on the list, and it's because you lost? No. Come on. And that doesn't look good for the state either. They don't want to go through that. So again, this isn't about like using Ralph to get off and then, ew, gross. Using Ralph to get out and then the state going after Ralph. That might be a part of it, but that would be up front, and that would be something that would be developed between them. We have no information about that. Again, some people have, and maybe it's my error in communication or whatever, but some people have problems discerning between those things. They're different. They're different. Raising doubt in one case does not create a beyond a reasonable doubt answer in another. Automatically. It could, but it doesn't usually. Random unbreaded commenter member for 6 months says, why does Google confuse Scarlett with Piper Perry? Well, I would assume because they're both small and blonde, maybe. But I think they have different specialties. Is this like a Coke torts class? Is that even a thing? Actually, yes, it is now. I'm a professor emeritus of it. If there's ever a Coke torts class, I want to be on the short list of professors. I will get relicensed. I'll specialize to teach that class. It'd be so fucking funny. Oh my gosh. Mr. Mike says, I really think this is a waste of time unless we research Scarlett's Pornhub profile. It's just a thought. A few minutes later, he posted, she's innocent. So I guess the research is complete. Coke tort is Nick's favorite dessert. God damn it. Oh my gosh. Professor 8-Ball. I'll take it. I'll take it. But yeah, again, we'll see what other developments come up in the Scarlett thing. I mainly wanted to cover this, one, because it happened today, two, because I had just done the video on it pretty recently, kind of the preliminary video. And this reinforces, in my opinion, it reinforces some of my initial thoughts. It kind of makes it look like the strategy that I laid out is similar to the strategy that they're taking. Obviously, they know more facts than I do. For example, when I first made the video, we didn't know why Scarlett was admitted to the psychiatric care unit. We don't know what led up to that. I'm still a little fuzzy on it. You know, in listening to that video, she talked about things that definitely would qualify as domestic assault. Does it rise to the level of felony domestic assault's a question, but you know, hitting her head with a lamp and then you know, using hands to try and choke or strangle someone, those are those are domestic assaults under pretty much any definition, unless there's there's still domestic assault. Justifiable self-defense would be a defense to the domestic assault, but the domestic assault occurs. It's just you might have a legal excuse for it, right? So that's there. But there's not much more to say about it right now. Like I said, I think that my initial read on the case is obviously you'd say she comes in, she's admitted to the psychiatric care unit. She's sedated. She's incoherent. That bag isn't hers. Ralph being the only person I know of that's there is Ralph. Then you would blame Ralph for the bag. But maybe it's not Ralph's bag. Maybe there's another person who's with them. You know, I don't know. We don't have that information. But if there's a third person, maybe it's their bag, right? Maybe that's the blame. Scarlett didn't say it's Ralph's bag. She said it's not my bag. So that's that. Aaron says that is a good argument, but it's Indiana. I've heard Indiana is really rough on drugs. So, but I don't know. Like, that's just what people say. That's just what people say. I think they work on a punishing plea. Very possible. And I'm not familiar with Indiana practice of law. I know in Minnesota, they really relaxed right before I went in, right before I got popped for it. They kind of relaxed a lot of the drug stuff. And it was beneficial. Oh, excuse me. It was definitely beneficial to me that they relaxed things in the way that they did. I wish they would have relaxed them a little more. So, you know, like, because I don't want any punishment for what I did wrong. I want to just say I'm sorry and be done with it. What the fuck? But no, like, but not all states have gone in the same direction, right? Or have gone to the same extent. Let's see. So what do we've got? What do we got now? So we talked NFA, we talked Scarlett, we've got, oh yeah. Let's recap this. Courtney Clenney, who will forever be referred to by me now as that fucking bitch. Courtney Clenney has decided to plead guilty, I think in 5 days. The plea hearing is in 5 days. I think it's on August 10th. And so, I don't know if that hearing is going to be broadcast, but Courtney Clenney is apparently pleading guilty, which I don't know why. I think she had a good chance of being found not guilty, even though she like throwing knifed her boyfriend to death, which is, I mean, based, I guess. But yeah. What is this? Left Nuts says, is Nick not allowed to go scorched earth? Wait, what do you mean? On who? Who should I go scorched earth on? I'm not sure. But Courtney Clenney is, you know, my guess, and this is scotched earth. I can't go scotched earth. Oh, yeah, that's what you wrote. Okay, correct. I can't go scotched earth. Courtney Clenney is engaging in a plea deal. I saw some speculation. I think I agree that she'll probably try and plea down to manslaughter versus murder, which would kind of be like a recognition of an imperfect self-defense, where perfect self-defense means you're legally justified. Imperfect self-defense means you're not legally justified, but there's a mitigating circumstance, usually resulting in a lower punishment. There won't be a finding of this because there'd be a plea, and the plea will just take care of that. But I think it's very possible that she's worked out something like a manslaughter plea because she has this defense where she was going to claim that he was going to domestic violence her, that he was domestic violencing her, and she was defending herself. And she just happened to stab him a whole bunch of times or whatever. In that case, excuse me, gosh, I'm yawning a lot because I was at the mall all day. I'm sorry. In that case, you know, I think the maximum manslaughter charge in Florida carries a 10-year sentence. which means she has a chance to be out in 7 years, maybe even 5, depending on time served and stuff like that. I don't know how all those numbers work out, but I was reading, that's kind of someone's prediction I was reading on Twitter. That seems like a pretty good prediction of, that's the kind of plea deal that you would make. She's still really young. No one wants to be in prison for years, but you know, you got second or first degree murder. I think she's charged with second degree murder, carries a much, much longer sentence. And you wouldn't want to be in that situation. If you could plead it down to manslaughter and she gets out in 5 to 7 years, she may still have a couple hours on the OnlyFans clock even. Plus, can you imagine, like, honestly, think about this. Think about Courtney Clenney's scenario. Courtney goes into lady jail for 7 years, 5 years, ideally for her, obviously. Let's say it's 5 years. She comes out and reopens the OnlyFans. If she can stay trim and in shape and not look like a, meth addict or whatever, and she comes out and does that OnlyFans she'll make $1 million. She will make $1 million in a month, easily. Probably way more money than if she defended herself successfully and came back. She would probably make way more money. She could be like Killer Cutie XOXO or whatever. That'd be amazing. I'm going to try it. Can I have an African-American boyfriend that I can murder? Manslaughter. That's what it is. No, I think that I think that might actually be part of the strategy. If I had to guess. Slay Queen? Yeah, oh my God, yes. Where are we? Slay Queen. Who else has a Courtney Clenney post-prison OnlyFans name for her comeback? And since she'll be in lady jail, probably not a lot of comebacking. Or back coming. But no, so that's, I think she goes to prison or whatever, 5 years, 7 years even. If she keeps in shape, keeps on top of things, she comes out to a massive public announcement and then hits OnlyFans, and she can be like the prison pussy or whatever. And then she rakes in retirement money in the first 6 months. And then she can do whatever the fuck she wants after that. That's not the worst fucking plan. And again, it's lady prison, which maybe I'm biased, but I think guy prison is worse. So, okay. There's one more thing I wanted to cover, and this, I don't know if it needs an in-depth conversation. Destiny is wrong on the internet, and it can't be left alone. Let me find it real quick. Guys, I saw a clip of Destiny doing MMA and getting fucking knocked out, like, immediately. Did that happen? Was that real? Or was I hoodwinked? Was that someone who was not? It looked like Destiny. And he got one punch man. Court and cuffs. You'd never heard of OnlyFans until until Scarlett, or not Scarlett, oh shit, until Courtney Clenney killed her boyfriend? That was the first time you'd heard of OnlyFans? Let's see. The legendary wizard sent some jewels and says, stay hydrated. Thank you. I'm working on it. I'm drinking a Dr. Pepper. Okay, so here is, this is not that. I thought I saw Destiny get KO'd in like an MMA style match, but it was pretty funny. So Queen of Hearts, Charnel, did your like significant other just like not tell you about it? See, to me, since my job is online, so I'm online, right? Like, so the online world seeps into things, and something as big as OnlyFans, which has had a lot of social commentary or whatever. Like, there was no way for me to not know about it. It was, you know, it was gonna seep this way. I do not have an OnlyFans account. Never have, never will. It's not my thing. You know, even when I was into pornography or whatever, like I would never pay for it. Like, it's just, there's a bunch of free stuff. Why would you, is my thinking. But I know that for some people, the social aspect of it and the accessibility to the person is what gets them. And like, sometimes you see these videos where like the top simp or whatever meets the girl. Like, I saw one where this guy had given her like $1 million in a year. One dude had given her $1 million. Like, in addition to all the other money she made, he gave her $1 million. And then they met, and he's like, it's awkward as fuck. Okay. So here we go. You want to think of Godsmack parody songs tailored to Gunty, like tailored to Ralph? Oh my goodness. You know, I'm like, one's like brewing in my, I don't want to even say it. It's not developed yet. Okay, so here's Destiny talking to some woman. This is not Destiny here. This is an old lady. I don't know who this lady is. But let's read this real quick. Destiny updates posts. Destiny explains the founding fathers designed the pardon power with George Washington in mind, not Trump. Right out the gate, by the way, this is wrong. This is absolutely incorrect. They did not design the pardon power with George Washington in mind. In fact, Federalist 74, written by Alexander Hamilton, specifically talks about corrupt politicians corruptly using the pardon power. Like, that was contemplated. That was argued when they determined that a president should even be able to pardon treason, because that meant that a president could have people assist him in stealing an election, for example, and then pardon them. They thought of it. Shockingly, the founders weren't retarded. And this is a common issue called presentism, where you think that now is more important than some other time. People now are so much smarter than the people back then. They couldn't have possibly imagined this, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. This is the dumbest fucking argument ever. It's actually far more likely that we kind of got a glossed over version of George Washington, ignoring some of the practical realities about him in favor of promoting him as an icon of virtue, a great leader, all these things, which he may have been. But we're probably getting a little bit of polish on that, right? Rather than the founding fathers being incapable of considering a crooked leader. They knew they were granting the king's pardon power to a president. But the president would be somewhat limited because the president could be impeached. But they certainly did not design it for George Washington. That's a retarded statement. So he says, quote, when you read the Federalist, well, these are all quotes. So let's just watch the video.
When you read the Federalist Papers, when they talk about the pardon power, they just say that like pardons are really good in times of like if there's like a huge national like drama and maybe somebody's being accused of treason, there was a huge thing and everybody's like on the verge of civil war, and a well-timed pardon could save us so much from a wise individual.
I don't know how Destiny can read something and just get it wrong. They do say that last part, a well-timed pardon at this time. But what they're talking about, the reason that they're talking about that is they're talking about having the pardon power be only the president and not require congressional approval. Because the debate was, can a president alone be the sole source and the sole deciding factor in a pardon? And they're like, hey, there might be a time where in some national crisis where a pardon at the right moment cannot wait and cannot be debated. That could solve a problem. And if that's the case, we want to have that power in one person's hands so that there's not someone else bogging it down or trying to use political gain, or use it for political gain or hold it hostage. So that's what they were doing. That's why it's in the hand of the president, not because this is good or bad or like something. It's literally about, in this instance, it should be one person. But that is not about the validity of a pardon, the wisdom of a pardon, the goodness or the badness of the pardon power in general. It's just the pardon power is assumed because the executive has the power of the fucking king. It's in Article 2, Section 1, first line. The power of the executive shall be vested in a president of the United States. That's it. And then it goes on to explain some of those powers, the pardon power being in there, that the president will have this pardon in all cases except impeachment. And the reason that they put that in there is because it's the exception to the king's pardon power, which was absolute. Remember, the president is fucking king, except as restricted by Congress, the courts, and whatever's in Article 2. But Article 2 just says the executive power shall be vested in a president. They knew what the executive power was. It's the king. So this is slightly different. They say, except in cases of impeachment. So if the president's being impeached, he can't pardon himself. And if one of his, if someone in government that is an ally of the president is being impeached, he can't pardon them either. But in all other federal matters, he can. That was already assumed. That's baked into the deal. They didn't come up with the pardon power. They didn't have to determine if it was a moral good or bad. It's a function of having an executive. That's just what it is. So Destiny's already wrong here because he's talking about this being about the goodness or badness. No, it's literally, it's already there. The pardon power wasn't in question. The question was, does the president get it, or does the president have to also get some level of approval from Congress or someone else or the courts? And they say, you know what? There are these circumstances where maybe time is of the essence. And so it should just be a president, and that's wise. But he's just absolutely wrong about all this other stuff that he's adding in there. He's adding this in because he's making it up. Destiny does this a lot. He gets some cursory knowledge on some subject, and then he just makes up a bunch of shit because it sounds good.
Individual. And then it's like, and then the next sentence is, it's something like, obviously a president would never make an incredibly partisan and unpopular pardon because he would immediately be cast out of office. It's like, well, that obviously.
That's not what it says at all. Not at all. Again, they specifically consider that a president would do that, would make those decisions. It's in there. They said, yeah, he can be impeached, and that impeachment might temper him and change his mind. But also, it talks about how the damage to the ego, the call of being a coward, the accusations of unmanliness for the president who's pardoning people and running away from responsibility or absolving them of just responsibility, that the impugning of their reputation, not just impeachment, but just the negative outlook, might be enough. And remember, a president has to win re-election. A president has to, well, doesn't have to, but he might desire to pass on his credibility to the next generation of president, to the next candidate from his side or his camp or his line of thinking, who may enact more of his policies and carry on his legacy. That's all important, and that's all factored in. And if you don't think that's important, just look no further than John Roberts, who compromises all of his principles based on his legacy. Now, he's not a president, he's Chief Justice, but which makes it even worse because there's nothing, like, he can't be taken out of office very easily. It's entirely egoistic, right? Like, that's it. It's ego. It's a desire for legacy to say something and be preserved in a certain way, and nothing more. With the president, there's at least some motivations for re-election and then carrying the torch, etc. But Destiny's completely wrong. Completely wrong. I tried to educate Destiny on pardons a couple of years ago, when he said, like, he was making these dumb arguments about Trump being able to pardon SEAL Team 6 after murdering Joe Biden. And it's like, yeah, he can. He can pardon them for that. He can order the hit and then pardon them of any crime. That would be doable. Except he would probably get impeached. Like, that probably would happen if he just ordered the assassination of a political enemy using a U.S. military asset. He'd probably be impeached. But they contemplate this in the Federalist Papers. And they say that even though this is a risk and a possibility, we still want it in the hands of one person because of the possible rewards. And also, again, assuming automatically that the pardon power exists, because it does. It's part of the executive authority. They would understand the pardon power to be a part of that package. All right. So what else does he say?
Obviously is not the case. But one of the things that you have to keep in mind so much is that there weren't very many federal laws. Like, the federal government really wasn't in the business of doing much stuff. So when you think about corrupt pardons, it doesn't even what could the president even corruptly pardon?
Another retarded statement. There weren't as many federal laws. No, but there were federal laws. Smuggling is a big one. Piracy. You've got murder, kidnapping, arson, theft, treason. Treason at the time of revolution, at the time of the presence of European powers in our territorial country, you have treason to worry about. Well, there aren't that many laws. The federal government was busy at this time. Absolutely busy. What a fucking dumb thing to say. There were less laws, yeah. But also, every single federal felony carried a death penalty as a possible sentence. All of them. Every federal crime at the time was a felony, and all of them had the death penalty as a possible sentence. So, blah, 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 blah. Well, what could be so big deal? All of it. In fact, they specifically contemplate sedition, seditious behavior. Wonder why they had just commit seditious behavior and treason against England and won their independence through a revolution. Why might they be thinking about this? Well, there's not much federal activity. They had 30,000 soldiers. That's a lot of federal crimes. That's a lot of treason. This is, again, Destiny has no fucking idea what he's talking about here. Federal government wasn't in the business of doing much stuff. Literally, yes, they were. They had a war. One of the first wars in the United States was going after the Barbary pirates, right? Like, this is piracy on the high seas, disrupting trade, putting their people at risk. These are all serious punishable offenses. You had federal laws related to the enforcement of slavery between the North and the South, right? An escaped slave from the South going into a northern state. The northern state would have had to, by Constitution, create a posse, retrieve the enslaved property, and return him to his owner, or compensate them if something happened. That was federally enforced. That's a big thing. The federal government was doing a lot of stuff. They just didn't have as many laws, sure. But it doesn't mean that there weren't as many opportunities for violations of law on a daily basis. People were violating the law or had the ability to violate the law all the time. And most importantly, their biggest concern at the time of the drafting is treason. They're holding together, following a revolution. States are vying for power, individual players within the states, and very, very wealthy parties and moneyed interests on, they didn't really have two sides of the aisle in the same way, but I guess they had the Democrats and the Democratic Republicans, something like that. Well, the Whigs, I don't fucking remember the parties. It doesn't matter. Those parties had very big moneyed interests, very wealthy people who had ideas. And those wealthy people could rally private armies, private navies, and attack a nation that was really young and in a lot of ways floundering following a revolutionary war that they weren't ready for. That's their primary concern. There's tons of opportunities for that. Okay, here we go.
Like, there weren't just many things going on, whereas now, obviously, federal law encompasses so much of what we do on the day-to-day. And
federal law already encompassed so much of what they did on the day-to-day. This is a misnomer because, again, our lives are wildly different. And I don't think there should be as many federal laws as there are, of course. But our lives are wildly different. We have different opportunities to do things, and the federal government has constantly increased the amount of regulation just because, like, there are so many different avenues of things to do. So there's different things for them to regulate. It doesn't mean we have more time in the day or more opportunities to commit crime. It just means that we do different things. Not that there's more crime to do, there's more to do. You have the same amount of time and the same opportunity. It's still 24 hours or whatever. So, like, this idea that again, people weren't violating federal law as much. Oh my God.
I don't know if the framers originally, knowing how expansive the federal government would become, would envision the same ability for somebody to just unilaterally pardon somebody with no oversight from anybody whatsoever.
Yes, they did. Again, what is this assumption? These guys all read fucking Adam Smith and John Locke. They are well aware of the expansive and pervasive nature of government and power. And they wrote the laws the best that they could to circumscribe that power and slow the growth and prevent it from being insurmountable. Why on earth do people just assume the founders have no ability to predict or think about anything that could happen? They're like, knowing, by the way, that this just came off the heels of the Articles of Confederation, where the federal government was too small and they just expanded it. He's like, there's no way they could. I don't know if they could have possibly thought that the government would grow so big and become such a problem. Yes, of course they did. It was their number one concern in making the federal government bigger when they become the United States. After the Articles of Confederation, they drafted a constitution that their biggest concern was that the federal government would be too big. How could they possibly think, Destiny, you dummy? How could they possibly think that a federal government might get too big and then someone could, just unilaterally pardon everybody? What are we talking about? Of course they considered this. They lived it. They did it. What an insane proposition.
Especially now with Robert saying you can do this as part of a bribe and nobody can question it.
That's Robert's clarifying what has always been true. But that's not actually true. You can pardon someone as part of a bribe. Yeah, sure. There's no bribe restriction on the pardon power. A pardon is a pardon is a pardon, period. It just is. It's a plenary authority of the president of the United States. It is not questionable. The only question you can have is, did a pardon occur? That's the challenge of the auto pen. I think it's a weak challenge. I think the auto pen's a weak challenge. However, the president has the pardon power, not the executive branch. So if they can show that the auto pen, for example, was a function of the administration of the executive branch rather than a function of the president and a convenient way for the president to issue a pardon, if they could successfully challenge that, I don't know how exactly they do that outside of a lot of direct testimony. That doesn't seem like it'll come, but sometimes things don't seem like they'll come and then they do, and it's huge. But outside of direct testimony and a whole lot of evidence, it's going to be really hard to assail the pardon power in any way. The auto pen is the best way because you can make the argument coherently that the president didn't actually issue the pardon, but that the executive branch did. And the executive branch does not hold the pardon power. The president does, and he can't delegate it. It's non-delegable, discussed in Federalist either 69 or 74. If you want to read more about the pardon power, Federalist 69, Federalist 74, also Federalist 70, sort of, but it doesn't actually talk directly about the pardon power, but it's kind of inferred or implied through some of the other discussions. But Federalist 69, Federalist 74, pardon power is thoroughly discussed. All of these issues are in there. Destiny's like, I don't know if they thought about this. Well, they're in there. They did. They literally contemplated these things. And because Hamilton wrote about them explicitly. But the auto pen is the real question because, it questions whether or not the president was even involved in the pardon at all. But pardon is part of a bribe. Yes. Absolutely allowable. Ethical? No. Moral? No. Good? No, not really. Bad things. But unassailable because the pardon happened. Now, if you don't like it, impeach the president. Impeach the president and then prosecute the bribe. If you can successfully complete the impeachment, impeach the president, remove him from office. That strips him of any presidential immunity he may have had. And then boom, you can criminally arrest him for bribery or involvement in bribery. And then you could criminally arrest the briber, I suppose, unless he's pardoned. Now, the question of does an impeachment related to this, does that nullify a pardon? I don't know. That's a question the court could answer. Let's say I'm president, I accept $100,000 and I pardon you. Congress doesn't like that. They impeach me. I lose. Does that invalidate the pardon? I don't think so. It just prevents me from doing any more. And so, these are interesting questions. They're tough ones, but they actually considered all of this pretty much. Again, I don't know that they considered an auto pen. I don't know that they considered does that mean, is there some level where there is a challengeability if the president doesn't manifest an independent or an independently identifiable intent, right? And what does that manifestation look like? What is required for it? How do you challenge it? Is there a test the Supreme Court can come up with to say, here's how we actually question the authenticity of a pardon and say that it came from a president and not from a program? Those are the questions. Destiny is talking about these things that the founders never could have considered. Oh, could a president pardon everybody? In theory, yeah. A president can pardon every single American citizen of every single federal crime. He could. Wouldn't that be a great president? Comes in, says, I pardon everyone of any federal crime they may have committed up to this point, have not been charged with. Clean slate. No federal crimes going back before today. Or maybe just taxes. Maybe just do that with taxes, for example. Gundam Zig says, except treason. Wrong. It's except impeachment. Treason you can pardon. Oh, you might be saying that treason would not be desirable to pardon. It, I don't think murder necessarily is desirable to pardon either, but, I'm just in the hypothetical. So anyway, with that, so this is interesting. Left Nut says someone committed auto pen fraud, and of course, falsified pardons are invalid. You say, of course, but I don't know that that's actually true. That's one of those questions that, again, the Supreme Court has to come up with a way to challenge it. In federal law, you have this issue called standing. Who has standing even to challenge a pardon? How are you particularly injured by the pardon? I think standing is bullshit, by the way, but standing is the measure. So we say there's a falsified pardon that was issued. Okay. Why do you get to sue over that? Soldier of Providence says, if you don't know what crimes you're pardoning, how could you possibly sign off on that? The president has the power to pardon someone for crimes that they don't know that the person committed. They can just pardon them for all federal crimes if they want to. All federal crimes except for murder or theft or art. Like they can pick and choose. They can make it as broad or narrow as they want. There's no check on it. There's no requirements. Okay, Kevin Hunt says, Elon's about to fund the America Party and clean up the courts with Tucker and Thomas and Carrie Lake dropping a nip slip. I got to see Carrie. I didn't go talk to Carrie Lake, but I got to see her when I went to the passport thing. I think my dad went and said hi, but I didn't go talk to her. I was busy. Kevin Hunt says, auto pen is like a Baldo, not a real function. It works. It's just weird. Okay. Kevin Hunt says his DNA is on the pen, though. Couldn't have been auto or stolen. Exactly. 100%. See, you cracked the case there. The asterisk says, unless there's an argument of diminished capacity, R.E. Robinson, as with Biden, this isn't the gotcha you seem to imagine. And I think you're responding to someone in the chat. Let me just say, though, unless you invoke the 25th Amendment and invoke it successfully, diminished capacity is not going to go backwards. Until the invocation of the amendment that says that the president is incapacitated and unable to act, you're not going to say you do it now and then go back and invalidate a pardon. It would just stop because it removes the powers of the president and it vests them in the vice president and then the next one down the line. Once that's resolved, right? So unless you go through that process, think it's 25th Amendment. That's not happening, or impeachment again. We got a couple super tips here, and then we'll probably wrap up really soon here. I think it's about time.
I was looking forward to the Clenney trial. Bronco would be epic. Also, Indiana can be puritanical on anything not weed.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, drugs are always a risk. No matter what you think about drugs and drug policy and any opinion of it's fine. No matter any of that. Drugs have been heavily propagandized, and most people have no ability to understand them because of all of the misinformation that is out there based on the United States' anti-drug policies, primarily starting in like the mid 80s, really heavily, the Reagan push, the DARE program. They have so mischaracterized drugs. Not saying that drugs are good, but they have so mischaracterized the ways in which drugs are bad, even, that most people just have no understanding. And I'm not saying that I hold special knowledge. I'm saying that I don't understand it. Most people don't. Even pharmacologists don't really understand a lot of these drugs because they're not allowed to actually research them. We're not allowed to get literature on them. The types of studies that do occur, like coincidental studies and stuff like that. And there's just no way to get the information to make proper decisions on it. But they sure are happy to propagandize, right? Like including the reefer madness and like the idea that someone on weed was going to axe murder their parents and stuff like that. That was a common belief that's been held up until recently. And, you know, you now look at weed and you're like, weed was a Schedule I drug. It was considered the absolute worst type of controlled substance. You're like, weed? And a reminder that cocaine is a Schedule II drug and ketamine is a Schedule III drug. Now weed is it's either reclassified or being reclassified to Schedule III. But like, this is for decades. Weed was considered one of the worst drugs, not based on research, not based on science, based on certain policy interests. Drinky Crow says LawTube is a joke, pay to play. Did OJ do it? Do you have a BS meter? According to law, but what is real? Open your eyes and ears. Sound doesn't lie. There's a lot to that. I'm not entirely sure what that's about. LawTube is a joke. I don't know what pay to play means. Who's paying to play? The asterisk says, I was responding to Kevin's attempt at an ethical gotcha, not stating legal standard. I think Kevin was kind of just bantering. But I do appreciate the super chats, of course, and I appreciate the super tips. Just the tip. Hashtag Lamau. With that, guys, I think it's time for me to go to bed tonight. I've had a long day, and but I really wanted to get a show in. Like, I wanted to get that because it's been way too long. Way too long. You guys have been extremely generous as always. Thank you so much for supporting me and letting me do this show and hopefully enjoying it with me. I do intend to have more, like, this once a week thing is killing me. Like, cause I'm like, every day that I don't stream, I'm like, but we had some specific opportunities come up this week that had kind of gotten in the way of streaming. And, but I think those are mostly done. So we should have some more streams. I hopefully will be having a stream tomorrow, of course, is the plan. And then I really want to get back onto a very consistent schedule. I know that some of you guys have been waiting for me to actually do that, but that's the goal I'm trying to get there. But life keeps, life keeps peeking in right at the wrong time. Katie K says, thanks, Nick. Hey, thank you, Katie. Nice to see you in chat, of course. And we will see you guys hopefully tomorrow. And until then, I hope you have a great night. And, don't do drugs. Don't go to jail. Don't talk to the cops. And until then, peace. Peace. Oh, I gotta set the outro. Hold on. Here we go. Holy crap. Drinky Crow says no asterisk. I was saying minus the law. Wasn't a gotcha. It was a thought. Oh, weird. Well, thank you. Thank you for that large super chat to solidify that. I'm glad we got that sorted. All right, guys. Have a good night. Peace.
Oh, he drinks a fair bit, but you realize that it just helps get his noggin jogging along. With his glass by his side and his kids asleep tight, we'll hear some law-splaining tonight. With his microphone muted, we'll laugh at this boomer until he explains it's all part of the plan. Watch his face become redder as he becomes madder, raging at idiots from Twitterland. From the white shores of Maine to the hills of Glenlivet, there's no one who explains the law better than Nick. So pour out a glass for the ones who have passed to make the law what we have now. Oh, his lady is fair, and she handles herself with the grace of one who has borne many children. As the wife of a lawman, she makes sure that he has the time and the place to provide for them there. So pour out an Ardbeg, a Balmore, a Lafroig, the spirits flow as the ones who get unemployed. So pour out a glass for the T-post on Twitter as we hear law-splaining tonight. From the white shores of Nairn to the hills of Glenlivet, there's no one who explains the law better than Nick. So pour out a glass for the ones who have passed to make the law what we have now. Oh, the guests are all plentiful, from Doug T to Drexel. They bring their perspective and spice to the mix. But the reason we're here and the one that we cheer is the one who is showcasing us his career. So pour out a glass for the T-post on Twitter as we hear law-splaining tonight. From the white shores of Nairn to the hills of Glenlivet, there's no one who explains the law better than Nick. So pour